He goes against that of Frederick Osborne. Here he is going against another Supra party here in the building. We saw
that's interesting,
right?
Yeah,
he only battles Supras exclusively.
He's got an attractor field that says Supra.
Look, it's a Supra. And if you don't know Dan Burkett, he is like the young Ben Stein. He's just like a really mellow, even-keeled dude. But Dan Burkett will lead. Ken Gushi will give chase. So let's get this going as Dan Burkett will lead. Out of that start chicane. And here we go, into that first outside zone. There goes Dan Burkett. Remember, Ken Gushi's got that back issue right now, but you could do it, put your back into it. Here we go. We're into that first inside clip goes Burkett. Ken Gushi takes it. And now into that third outside zone goes Burkett. Transitioning into that final outside zone. How does Dan handle it? Nice swooping turn there as Ken Gushi chases him down in that Greddy Performance Achilles tire, brand new Toyota Supra.
Well, let's take a look here and see how this first battle in the top 16 played out with Dan Burkett in the lead, Ken Gushi in that chase position. Both drivers get out of the gate around the same time. Ken Gushi fighting that back problem. And there you go, Burkett right at the outside of zone 1. Gushi following him into zone 2, whipping it back around to this inside clip. Gushi center punches that inside clip going into outside zone 3. Good line here by Dan. Gets back on the throttle right in the right spot, and Gushi coming up a little bit on a tighter line out of outside zone number 3. Pushes off the course just a little bit there. Here's another look at it. As you can see, the wind really starting to pick up. There's that center punch from Gushi. Nice lead run from Dan here. Gushi trying to navigate through the smoke line. And you can see just going off course a little bit. Here's the initiation from head on. Nice jump by Gushi there, but Dan doing a great job on the first and second outside zone. This is where we see Gushi come up a little bit tight on that inside clip. Dan dropping a tire, but not going into the dirt, just right on the edge there. That's where you see that little straightening from Gushi. A lot of forward momentum going to that last section, and that's where he gets into those cones that are standing up there. Our judges taking a look. Chris Yule, Brian Eggert, and Ryan Lantain judging remotely, did the socially responsible thing, had a fever come down, and our great production crew was able to work him into a remote judging situation. So thanks, guys, for getting that done.
Ryan did have a fever, but he came up negative for COVID testing. Just want to clarify that. Ken Gushi, oh, Dan Burkett going hard into the side of Gushi, punting him off. Okay. Oh, man, Ken Gushi.
That's not going to help the back.
No.
Let's take a look here, because yesterday there was some controversy with Ken Gushi. He was off throttle. We were able to verify that in an area where he was supposed to be on throttle, and he was docked for that against Alec Robbins. This time around, lets it float out. Looks like he was getting back on throttle there, and I'm sure the judges are going to want to see this again. See, that's where he initiates, and Dan actually makes contact with it right at the beginning of outside zone 1. So at first pass, it looks like just Dan was getting a bit too aggressive there. When Gushi was off throttle yesterday, it was quite a ways into outside zone number 1, where the judges do want to see you full acceleration.
Ah, such a bummer. Great looking vehicle. Dan Burkett going to the side. You can see, looks like missing some body parts there on the left side. Unfortunate for Gushi. Ryan, overall, the judges, they're looking for that initiation no later than that number 1 cone. Initiate at the right point. Walk us through it.
Well, right at initiation, there's a little bit of a decel area, and then the driver's supposed to get back on throttle. So that's what the judges are going to be looking at. And yesterday, it was much more noticeable. This time, Gushi gets made contact with prior to the outside zone, or right. See, you see the red right here prior to the blue line. That's the outside zone. That's where chase drivers can expect a punctuation in momentum from the lead. So take that, visualize that, and let's go back to where that contact happened and see if it happened in a deceleration area. And I believe it did, because it was before the outside zone. So that does seem to be So let's take a look again. Now remember, the orange standing cone that designates the beginning of the outside zone is not the 3-2-1 cone. There's your 3, 2, 1, and Dan is making contact right at the point of the beginning of outside zone 1. So that's why this is being scrutinized. So what the judges are going to be looking at here is, was there forward momentum from Dan in an area that would have been considered a decel, and is the contact, or the collision in this case because it stopped, the fault of Dan Burkett, or is it the fault of Ken Gushi?
Yeah, so as here we are waiting the outcome, Ryan, and man, if it goes one direction more than the other, I think Gushi's going to be like, man, what is going? I can't catch a break, man.
Can't catch a break, and obviously he's got that really sore back, you know. And we had a shot of him earlier getting pulled out of the car, not really feeling too well physically. So another little wreck there. That's got to be not so good for that lower back.
No, poor dude. And I talking to him earlier, he says, yeah, that's just youth leaving the body. You know, figure he's been in it since '04, and we've seen him grow up. But
youngest driver in FD in the early years. Remember
in the early years, but now Brandon Sorensen.
Yeah,
which,
16 years old, no license, but a professional drifter.
Yep, yeah. I know Brandon Sorensen and Amanda Sorensen. We're looking to see them here this year. The scores are in. Slide them left for Burkett or right for Ken Gushi. And there is Chris, now Ryan. And it looks like Ken Gushi, it will go his way. And we'll get some words from Brian Eggert here. Brian, going to you. Quite a different scenario than yesterday in Alec Robbins and Ken Gushi.
Yeah, we went and looked at it closely to make sure it wasn't similar to yesterday, but it looked like Gushi had pulled the e-brake to set up for the initiation, got on the gas, did another quick pull, but it was all before the start of outer zone 1, so it was good. I think Dan just didn't let off for a second to give him enough time to get back on throttle and make contact with him.
Yeah, no, it's and knowing Dan Burkett, being the super fan that he is, I'm sure he's going to go over there and be like, "Hey man, I'm sorry." That was my best Dan Burkett impersonation.
That was pretty good.
All right, so yeah, Brian, what do you make of everything going down today? Again, it does bear repeating as far as Ryan Lontagne. He felt he had a fever, or he did have a fever, and you can't travel. They scan you there when you leave Canada. He is actually judging remotely, so I think just being responsible. He did test negative for COVID as well, but the technology pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, no, it's working great, and the drivers today are definitely have learned from yesterday and have drastically improved, which I think is amazing. Even Dan's lead run right there was really good, so the guy's definitely putting on a good show today.
Right on. All right, our battle here, Frederick Osbo, Matt Field, we'll see them pull up to the line here in just a moment.
Our online 50-50 raffle winner is ready to be announced. It is B-9133563. That's B-9133563. Come on in a few more minutes and announce that again. Get your raffle tickets out.
All right, you can see Matt Field leaving the burnout box, heading over to the start line. Frederick Osbo already there. Ryan, what are your expectations with this second battle? And are we going to see an all brand new super battle? If Osbo wins, it's going to be Gushi versus Osbo, but Matt Field and you know, the head caveman there over at Drift Cave in that Corvette, he would like to put a stop to it.
He certainly would, and we have not seen a lot of Matt Field this weekend so far. Not a ton of opportunities. We have seen a lot of Frederick Osbo, so we've been getting various looks at how he's been performing at certain segments of competition. But we know Matt Field, he's an event winner, he's a charger, he's willing to put everything against it. Here we go.
Look at that entry there from Frederick Osbo and Matt Field tucking in. He is getting blinded by that Nitto tire smoke, but he still holds on to it. Does center punch that front flip, but that was the line that they talked about in the drivers, meaning do you compromise your angle or proximity? Ooh, a little shimmy there, might have hit the wall. Gonna have to look at that again. Matt Field, who got knocked out in 16 yesterday by Dylan Hughes, wants to come back, and he'd love to take out the current points leader. That would shift things up very quickly as far as points go. Ryan.
Well, Matt Field is not going to get rolled on by Frederick Osbo. That's what he's thinking in his mind. He's going to push as hard as he possibly can. Great initiation there by Osbo, and quickly Matt Field tucks in. Osbo switch back around to that second outside zone. Here's where Field gets a little bit tight, but he's wanting to keep that proximity. Beautiful line by Osbo in outside zone 3, whipping it back around. Matt Field makes contact with the wall with the back quarter panel there. It does not disrupt his line too much, but obviously it's going to affect a little bit of that forward momentum. But as you can see, coming into this final section of the course, Matt Field is going to tuck through. He's going to make contact with the wall, but then he eyes up Osbo and closes the door inches away. And I am getting the signal, Jared, from race control that looks like Matt Field does want to look at the car. and we'll be getting into our NGK competition timeout.
Yeah, that part shop Max parts, they can definitely take a big hit there, but you could see that the attitude of the vehicle might have bent one of those American racing wheels. They could definitely take a hit as well, but man, when you slam it that hard, don't know if it's able to bounce right back. All right, so hopefully it didn't damage any of his HGK parts on there, but NGK competition time out. Do spark plugs time out? Of course, and sure they do. A timely spark plug replacement not only prevents fouling and provides the best engine performance, it ensures less repair. Who was it? It was Ryan Turk and Dylan Hughes. Ryan Turk had to change his tire, and the option for Dylan Hughes was that he can change his tire as the other competitor because the incident that happened, they're changing tires. But now, if you would.
Yeah, if a wheel or a tire is damaged in a run and a driver calls a competition timeout, it obviously makes sense, especially if you hit a wall, that they're going to have to replace that wheel or tire. When that happens, they can replace the full set of rears because we want the traction to be the same for both in the back, right? And then what happens is you're able to also ask their competitor, would you like to change your tires as well? So in the case of Dylan Hughes, he said, no, I'm fine with my set. But in the case of Frederick Osbo, he will also change his rears, so they will have a fresh set of rears for the second half of the battle.
All right, here we go as we are going on to our next battle of Michael Essa and Kazuya Taguchi. Taguchi versus Essa. This should be a fun one here. You can see the purge of the nitrous. Michael Essa did text me and told me that he is down on power. Very unfortunate, as he is saying that, yeah, his head gasket or something is toast, way down on power. He says right now, you can see, oh, Taguchi, big angle there in that GT radial up garage S13. Michael Essa now into that third outer zone. And yeah, very apparent here. I'm glad we got to know that he is down. So unfortunate for Michael Essa, but it definitely gives definition of what happened. Ryan.
Well, it certainly gives you a little insight to what we might be reading into this run as we take a first look here at Kazuya Taguchi in the lead position against Michael Essa. Nice little snap there by Taguchi, trying to get the car settled. Comes off that first outside zone a little bit early. Essa through the smoke line. Slight bobble there by Essa, and then a bit too tight on that inside clip. Getting into outside zone number 3 now as they leave the inside clip. You can see Taguchi gets really close to the edge, but fills it. So does Essa, and Essa falling back a ways as Taguchi does not get into the outside zone until very late and then pushes out a little bit too wide. There's that first outside zone that was missed a little bit or left early by Taguchi. Then you can see right there, he just pulls a little bit of angle out of the car, but he certainly has more grip and was able to pull a gap against Michael Essa while still making a couple mistakes in the lead position. So let's switch things up now. Taguchi is not at the line yet. Wondering if there's something interesting going on there, if he's just waiting to be pulled up. We'll see the second half of the battle here with Michael Essa taking the lead.
Well, he should pull up. What's going to get interesting here, Ryan, is you have to think that a spotter's telling him, like, hey, Essa might not be running 100%. I don't know if he knows, or if even sometimes drivers will be as cordial as saying, like, look, I'm down on power. Like, just FYI. Don't know if that's the case. It would be pretty rad if Essa said, hey, man, I'm down on power. My head gasket's blown or something's going on, but we'll see. So Taguchi pulling up to the line, and look at that. There's Matt Field. Oh, man. So even with Essa down on power, Taguchi is calling a competition timeout. So another NGK competition timeout. All right, so we got another NGK competition timeout here. Michael Essa is like, oh, man, unfortunate for him. He's just delaying. I don't want to say the inevitable because it wasn't a bad chase run, but he did have that gap. So, hey, shout out to his FCP Euro Liqui Achilles tire team working hard to get his car out here. We'll see what happened to Kazuya Taguchi's car. Maybe Laurent Nickel could catch up with one of Kazuya's teammates and find out what's going on, as looks like Matt Field already into the burnout box. So Matt Field changed out his tires, and Frederick Osbo did change out his rear Nitto tires. And like I said, Laurent Nickel, who you got?
Hey guys, Jay Chang. was just telling me what was going on with Matt Field, so tell the fans at home.
Yeah, Matt hit the wall exiting zone 2 and knocked out his toes. So there were some pieces that broke, and we had to replace them. We put the car up in the air, replaced all the parts, and then did an alignment and got him right back out.
Jay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, Lorette. We're back at it once again as we could see Frederick Osbo warming up his Nitto tires and getting it going. The Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Racing Toyota Supra. All right, so here goes Osbo headed over to the start line. So remember, this is the second half of this battle. I'm sure after we finish this second run, we'll see either a BC Racing side-by-side, BC Racing, the official suspension of Formula Drift, go for the gold. We are in the Royal Purple Top 16. Royal Purple, the synthetic experts, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. Matt Field got knocked down to 16 yesterday. Frederick Osbo obviously took it to the top. Wind is kicking up here, so as we are getting some debris and some trash out here on course, want to make sure they have ideal scenario. Ryan, in this instance, wind factor at all?
We've never really had it a real threat in terms of competition, but certainly in terms of fan safety, if something was affected at the venue, there could be a hold on course for sure. Usually it comes or is accompanied with rain, and that's always a factor. So what we're dealing with here is just very, very high winds.
Yeah, so I mean, it's little napkins here and there. Unfortunately, you know, obviously pick up your trash, folks. You know, don't litter. So a lot of it looks like some trash from the stands. So hopefully we can pick that up or just blow right off. Here we go, back to the action. The second run of this battle. Matt Field will now lead. Oh, what's going on here? Was that let's back that? Was there contact? I was looking straight down with my naked eye.
I heard that was a clean start, so I think we are now going into the investigation side of things of what transpired there. That was very quick after initiation.
Ryan, elaborate on initiation and elaborate, if you will, on what's expected of the drivers to avoid contact, because there's kind of a grace period or a grace point where you can't impede on the lead driver's transition.
Yeah, the lead driver does have the right of way to initiate however they want. The chase driver needs to allow them to do that. So we've seen a different style of initiation for almost, you know, every driver that we have in the field. Some people do a big feint. Some people kind of sweep to the left and then to the right. Some people do, you know, straight entry with e-brake. So there's various different ways that you can enter, and this is part of the personal style that comes with drifting that the series allows. In this case, we're gonna figure out what went on there between Matt Field and Frederick Osbo.
All right, so as the spotters in the ear of the drivers to make sure that they're up and aware of what's going on. Yeah, let's look at this again.
It happened so fast. Matt Field really cuts over there, and Osbo was side by side. Really interesting. You know, Matt Field was really cutting over to the left there. Osbo was pacing him, going straight in his lane. You can see Matt Field immediately cuts over. Wow, yeah, this is for sure, this is going to be controversial. It seems a bit aggressive for Matt Field to go over at that degree, and Osbo was, you know, kind of more or less in his lane and was going for the side-by-side approach. So on the one hand, you know, you do need to leave space for the lead driver to initiate. On the other hand, you know, I don't know that I remember Matt Field going that far over for initiation. I could be wrong about that, but it just front of mind recollection, it seems a little bit unorthodox. And now the judges have a tough task here to kind of realize, to think whether or not, you know, was Osbo doing the right thing, pacing him down side by side and not allowing for Matt to do that, or was Matt being overly aggressive in coming into Osbo's lane there and making it basically impossible for him to follow at that moment.
And it seemed like he went over at the number 3 cone. I mean, he went from right to left really aggressively, like you said. But I mean, there's that kind of cordialness where, and the grace period that you have.
It happened very early.
Yeah.
This is the replay that the judges have requested. Seafield immediately comes out of the chicane and goes right over into Osbo's lane. In my opinion, that seems a little bit excessive.
I guess I haven't really paid attention to previous ones that are. I would like to overlay it or see like a previous run. Maybe even showing the first battle between Osbo and Field and seeing what that looks like between those two.
Osbo does do a similar snap like that, but it's much further down. Most of the drivers are kind of driving straight out of the chicane and then coming over to the left and then getting into initiation if they choose to do it that way. So this is going to be one that is definitely going to be spoken about for sure. It has the feeling of it, right?
Yeah, Matt's a pretty vocal dude, and rightfully so. I mean, we're all fighting for this. Everybody has their program and their sponsors that they need to take care of. I mean, here is when Osbo led. So you said he has a fairly similar lineup. You could see Field backing off here. I mean, there's Osbo. Like you said, he didn't go as far over.
Yeah, he comes more center court, and it was a little bit later as well. And you really hate to see this because we all want to see them go head to head, right? And in Matt's mind, he's an honest dude. He wants to compete. You can't put it on him that it was intentional. Everything is in the heat of the moment. At the same time, that was one of the more aggressive coming over in that secondary lane that I've seen, just because of how quick it was out of the chicane area. And
the problem here is a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on the judges to say, like, who's at fault? Because we did have a clean start, so that's a run.
Yeah.
Who's at fault?
It'll be
Osbo or
incomplete
Field
for somebody.
And also keep in mind that, we already been through half of this battle with Matt Field hitting the wall in that chase position. Osbo, pretty good run. So, is it kind of both people's fault? Like, did Matt go over too aggressively? Was Osbo kind of there?
On a pure, just following the rules, just like the technicality with Odie yesterday, the chase driver is supposed to give way to the lead driver, right? So on a pure technicality part, I could see if the judges give fault to Osbo, right?
Okay.
At the same time, there is a little bit of some background knowledge that I think needs to be taken into place here. What was going on with Matt's car fixing the toe? Did that have an impact on this? When he got out of the gate, did the car pull to the left? I mean, all these things that we find out after the fact of what's going on with the vehicle, they always end up kind of giving us more knowledge, and it makes sense. But this is one of those ones we know for sure is going to be talked about and will be controversial no matter which way you go about it. If Osbo incompletes because he didn't give Matt the right of way, which is certainly possible just on the baseline, clear-cut technicality, the rules of giving the right of way.
Yeah.
On the other hand, this is, a pretty aggressive example of that.
Yeah. A lot of thoughts and a lot of theories going through the minds of not only the drivers but of the judges, of the spotters. The spotters are up here conversing with us. Both Matt's team and Osbo's team, and the judges. I know Brian Egger, Chris, and Ryan Lontaine. He is actually they're actually calling him right now. They're talking to him digitally. So thank you guys and gals for your patience. But I guess this is what we expect in top 16. So yeah, the judges are in a teleconference. So here's a good opportunity for you to save some money. So buy $45 of any Royal Purple products, get a $10 rebate by mail. That's a sweet deal, right? Purchase a minimum of those, excluding tax, and receive a $10 rebate. Terms and conditions do apply. Limit 1 rebate per household and /address. Please allow 8 weeks for processing of your rebate. Track your rebate. And this goes on from August 1st to October 31st. And this is available only at O'Reilly's. So go to O'Reilly's, buy $45 worth of Royal Purple products, and get a $10 rebate by mail. So pretty sweet deal. And this is brought to you by Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. And it seems that Brian and Chris and now Ryan Sage are talking. They got off the phone with Ryan Lontaine, or not the phone, but just teleconferencing with him. So a very interesting turn of events here, and we are only, just two battles into the top 16 here, the Royal Purple top 16. And Worldwide Technology Raceway playing host to round 1 and round 2. And so Chris, Ryan, and Brian. And still waiting patiently. We're going to find out. So we're going to find out, and it looks like the judges do make a decision. Which way does it go? And it definitely, Eggert, get your headset ready. Matt Field gets the, and there it is. Matt Field gets the victory in an interesting turn of events. Brian Eggert, going to you. You had a teleconference with Ryan Lontaine, and of course, you know, there's 3 of you. What's the consensus? What's going on?
Yeah, so in the rules, when we go over in the driver's meeting, we talk about how the lead car has the right of way, and we have to give them room, and they're supposed to do nose to tail when they initiate. Now, drivers can take the risk and be up next to them, but we basically say in the rule book that they need to give the lead car enough room to make their move. And in that position, it just seemed that Oswald was just a little bit too far forward, and when Matt Field came up, they hit. And it looks like Field's car is also broken, so I don't know if that happened from the hit or coming to the chicane, but there just wasn't enough room for Field to make his initiation move, and they had contact.
Ryan, pretty interesting there overall. Brian, so Ryan Lontaine chiming in there. I mean, Sage, do you agree with that?
I think, you know, Brian's right on the technicality of the rule. You know, you do need to give the chase driver, or excuse me, the lead driver room to do whatever move that he wants to do. On the other hand, you know, Matt did go over very aggressively, but I tend to agree with Brian that we don't really know
and the judges, all of them.
what mechanical issues Matt was having because of the toe being out of whack. If we go back to the replay, you can kind of see there's a little bit of braking from Matt Field, what it looks like, and then he kind of veers over to the left. And we also tell the drivers that they need to take into account what vehicle they're driving against, what they have in terms of potential damage to their car, if there is damage to their car, but they're still running, and things like that. And this basically came out of the James Dean Forrest Wang battle from last year, where, you know, a lot of people were really upset that James Dean did not make those adjustments in the second and third battle against Forrest Wang, and kind of kept straightening out even though he was in close proximity. And basically what we're saying there is that if you know you have a slower driver in front of you, you do need to make adjustments so you can still drift. Right. And that principle has been applied to a lot of other rules.
Yep. So interesting turn of events, and I don't know if a protest, I mean, it's got to be interesting. But look at this. Talk about interesting. I was saying that Essa's like, oh, man, get this over with. But that's how crazy Formula Drift is. Kazuya Taguchi not able to get his vehicle to the line for the battle against Essa. So Essa, even though he says, as he said in his text, as you know, I'm reading it right now, FYI, my head gasket or something is toast, way down on power, he still gets the victory and advances on into the Great 8.
Well, it's a mechanical for Taguchi for sure, obviously not making that competition timeout. And, you know, this is it. This is Formula Drift, right? Crazy stuff happens all the time, whether it's mechanicals or something weird that happens for the first time, right? In the case of what we just saw with Matt Field and Frederick Osbo. So I think we've got no better option but to go talk to our girl on the ground, Lorette Nickel.
Yeah, Lorette, what's up?
Hey, guys. Okay, I know you're so disappointed you didn't make the competition timeout. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, we had a like a steering issue from the Saturday. So this battle is my favorite is worst. That's why we use timeout. Yeah, we can't fix during the only 5 minutes. But definitely we're gonna back next round.
Okay.
Yeah, Seattle.
All right.
Yeah.
Love the attitude. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jared, Ryan.
Thank you, Lorette. Thank you, Kazuya Taguchi. Says, hey, see you next round. That's right. We will see you there, Kazuya. Michael Essa gets the victory. A lot of anticipation for this battle here, Ryan. And it's just Chris Forsberg, Denofa, they've had contact, you know, on track, off track, and this should be a really good battle. Two very accomplished drivers, victories under their belts. No championship in Chelsea's corner, but definitely always a threat. And I had Chelsea Denofa pegged as winning around here because he's just gotten a lot of seat time. But Chris Forsberg, he's feeling more confident than ever. Chris Forsberg will lead in that NOS Energy Drink 370Z on Nexen Tires. Chelsea Denofa and the BC Racing Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D will give chase, initiating in that first outside zone, transitioning in the second outside zone, approaching that first inside clip, dialed in, both of them avoiding it, not even hitting it, filling that third outside zone, and now into that final fourth outside zone. And Chelsea Denofa overshoots, does exceed the edge of the track as Chris Forsberg keeps it in on the inside. Ryan Sage, pretty clean cut outside. I think Chelsea going outside of that fourth outer zone.
Well, Forsberg got another gear out of the gate. He was a rocket ship leaving that start line, and Denofa did an incredible job keeping up with him. But let's take a look at this replay again. You can see that great jump that Forsberg gets. Nice snappy initiation. He holds it, puts the throttle on. Denofa right there, tucking in, driving through the smoke line. And look at this wide sweeping turn that Chris makes. Perfect on that inside clip, and that allows Chelsea to get through as well. You can just see how well executed that was from both drivers. And then Chris mashes the throttle, starts pulling away a little bit from Chelsea through this transitional area. And then Chelsea comes back, puts big angle in the car, and puts a tire off there towards the end, hitting some of those taller cones that we put out. So a great start here between these two rivals. Chris Forsberg and Chelsea Denofa really giving a big show to us, Jared. And look at that.
Love all the different angles.
Beautiful transition by both drivers, a mirroring effect there, and then just a little bit too long by Chelsea Denofa in that final outside zone.
All right, we got, looks like our official just, man, their bumper budget over at RTR, those guys just absolutely ripped those skins off quite a bit over at RTR, both him and Vaughn Gittin Jr. Shows you they go deep. And here's a look at Matt Field getting worked on, all hands on deck of the Drift Cave. Here we go, the caveman working hard on that Falcon tire, Drift Cave Pedal Commander Corvette. Now we're gonna alternate the order. Chelsea Denofa will lead. Chris Forsberg will give chase. A lot of pressure here for these two drivers. This is a good battle. And who's gonna come out on top? Who you pulling for? Denofa or Forsberg? Let him know. Denofa initiates into that first outer zone. Big angle, there's the three-wheel motion. Haven't seen that in quite some time. A plume of smoke coming off Chelsea's vehicle. Big wide swing for Chelsea Denofa. Chris Forsberg comes back, punts that center front clip, and now in that last outer zone, Chris Forsberg applying the pressure, makes some noise. Woo! I was like nervous about this run, to be honest. Look at Chelsea still drifting. You know what? Make some noise, Formula Drift.
Oh, man.
To be honest, I didn't know how that battle was going to unfold.
That might have been the best battle of the weekend
That might
so
be
far.
the best battle, and could you feel the tension like I could? And I think the fans did as well. Ryan, let's take a look at the replay. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, both drivers get out of the gate very quick. Big
Boom.
initiation
Look
there
at
from
that.
Denofa. Three-wheel motion. Forsberg trying to eye up the line here. Denofa, massive smoke
Look at the
coming
middle
off the
smoke.
car as Forsberg tucks through. Now, the only mistake I think Forsberg made is he probably should have gone a little bit deeper like Chelsea did, so he doesn't end up hitting this cone front and center with his bumper. But then outside that, as we go back to outside zone one again, you'll get a look at it here through the smoke that's being generated where Chris hits that inside clip. Now Forsberg is trying to get back on it, but Denofa mashing the throttle, ripping through this center section here. And this time Chris really, I think he does a better job than Denofa did in that section of the course, mirroring the line. But Denofa was aces through that first inside clip, really mastering that line there that we saw him and his teammate Vaughn Gittin Jr. doing. Incredible job by both drivers, and this is going to be a tough one for the judges. Probably the most aggressive and smoke-filled battle that we've seen all day.
Wow.
And look at that mirroring effect, the transitioning together and then door-to-door through the finish line with sparks for good.
Lead versus lead, chase versus chase.
Yes, that is what's happening right now.
You know, I mean, lead versus lead. I think Chelsea had a really good lead run. Oh, here we go. The BC Racing side by side. BC Racing, the official suspension of Formula Drift, go for gold.
So big snap by Denofa. Forsberg, great job on that outside zone. Forsberg super close there on his chase run, but hitting that inside clip. Denofa maybe a slightly bit further back. So Denofa not as much of a factor in the chase as Forsberg was on his chase, especially on the second half of the course, but Denofa's lead was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, both of them, I think, had really good lead runs.
It may come down to the chase.
I think it comes down to the chase, and I'm just going to say it. Where do the judges lie more of the mistake, right? We're splitting hairs here. Is the mistake on the front clip larger compared to exceeding the outside zone and going off course in that outside zone 4? Those were kind of the big apparent mistakes.
Well, and I think, you know, Denofa, in terms of proximity, was a little bit further back from outside zone 3 to outside zone 4. So I think it's those 3 factors, right?
Here's what I also am going to say. I think they both gained a lot of respect for each other after this battle.
Oh, for sure. I mean, absolutely. How could you not? I mean, this is 2 of the best drivers in the series going.
Scores are in.
Crazy.
Which way are we going? Left for Forsberg, right for Denofa. One more time from Chris. One more time. They're going at it again. Oh, my goodness.
So Forsberg doesn't always get the win.
No, Forsberg does not get the win. And you don't, you know, for those haters out there, you know who got the winners? You know who got the win is you guys, the fans. They got the win. So, and Lorette is with the Beast from the Bay.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready. Matt Field, well, it was a strange incident between you and Frederick.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you have 2 totally different initiation styles. I flick in, Frederick straight line entries, and that's why we're supposed to be doing front to back initiation. I don't necessarily agree with it every single time because it does put you at a deficit when you go front to back, but if you don't, that's what happens. So it's a little bit of a bummer for everybody. I really wish we could have completed that battle. I thought I did pretty decent on the chase, and we'll never know what would have happened in my lead. So it's a bummer, but we're moving on, and I'll take anyone that I can get.
Right. And I heard you say that your team's fixing a little bit of damage. What did you sustain?
Yeah, in that one run, I was joking that guys from Part Shot Max are going to hate me, because in that one run, I went through 4 little, it's called a toe control plate, so it holds my rear tie rod. That's why my rear wheel was crab walking, and I barely was able to make it back to the pits. Fortunately, we designed it so we just replaced that one plate, and we're back. So we're ready to rock.
Matt, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Jared?
Right on, Matt. Still a smile on his face. And look, camera's off, straight-laced. He's just, it's like the face emoji, just with the line across the face. All right, so we got it one more time between Denofa and Forsberg. When we come back, we'll see who pulls up to the line to do battle here at round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Dylan Hughes will lead in that Royal Purple, O'Reilly Auto Parts, BMW, Travis Reeder, GT Radial, S13, Initiate at the same time. These guys have a ton of track time together up at Evergreen and even out there at Dirtfish. Oh, and Reeder goes into the corner of Dylan Hughes. Dylan continues on through the course. Ryan will have to see if Reeder just got too aggressive there again. These guys are very comfortable drifting with each other, but so we'll see if that hit from the backside will throw Dylan Hughes off, which of course it really truly would. It looked like a pretty decent hit. So
yeah, and remember that is not a decel area, so the decel area nearest to that is outside zone number 2. So we'll take a look at the replay here. It looks like Reeder trying to shake it off. Obviously,
Ryan, did the curse of me saying that, oh, we're almost done with the 32 at the end, does that curse carry over here to the 16?
I sure hope not, but let's take a look at this battle here as we get started with Dylan Hughes in the lead. He leaves that first outside zone in a good position here. Reeder coming through the smoke line. Now he's going to be on a slightly tighter line for a second. Then he starts to angle up, but it looks like the damage was kind of done and cooked ahead of time. He gets in.
Dylan's on the right line. Reeder's very shallow, so that's going to throw him off. He's middle of the road. Dylan goes deep, so he's scrubbing some speed. Reeder's taking kind of a faster, shallower
he's
line,
having
so
to
he
transition.
beelines it. He missed both outside zones.
And being on that tighter line is definitely going to put you in a tough position. If the guy in front of you is on the right line, you're going to get pinched off if you're coming up too fast, and that's pretty clear what happens there. So that's going to be an unfortunate turn of events there for Travis Reeder, who's been a beast this weekend and has gone through a lot of trials and tribulation, only to do battle against his best friend and maybe not turning out the way that he wanted it to.
Right. All right, Reeder or excuse me, Dylan Hughes pulls off to the side, talking to one of the officials. He might need a toe off. All right, you could see. So Reeder already to the start line. Now, each driver is allowed another competition timeout per round. Yeah, so I can see Forsberg and Denofa waiting in the wings before the burnout box. So, yeah, it looks like Dylan Hughes will need a toe off. And Brian Egger, we're going to wrap out with you. Just want to see what's going on as far as, is it correct in what I was saying? It seemed that Hughes was on the right line. Reeder took a shallower line, which means he's going to carry more speed. Didn't hit either of those outer zones. Dylan was on track. What's the judge's thoughts?
Yeah, we all were pretty much unanimous on this, but it looked like Reeder just was off on outside zone 1 and then kind of completely missed outside zone 2. And by doing that, it kind of put him in a bad situation for not allowing Hughes to make the rotation around interclip 1, and they just kind of hit. So we're putting fault on Reeder for that one.
Okay.
And as you can see right there.
Yeah, right here. So he's off. You'll see him transition. Look at Hughes out there.
Again.
Reeder nowhere near it.
Yeah, so he just took the shortcut route to interclip 1, and it just didn't give any room for Hughes to make that rotation around it. And so fault's on him.
Yeah, and Hughes still did make it around that front clip.
You can see that front, the front right immediately breaks loose.
Oh, you can see the suspension break loose?
Yeah, there's an
arm, there's a flappy.
Right.
Chris, is that the signature hand gesture of the flappy?
Yeah, right. Watch right there. See?
Boing, 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 boing. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. That's not how it's supposed to be pointed. So, yeah, that front right corner is just wacky, waveable, and crazy arm guy. Yep.
Go bye-bye.
But good job of Hughes being able to still continue through it.
Yeah, Dylan kept powering through, but when he came to this last outside zone, wasn't holding on loosely, and it did let go. So thank you for laughing at that fellow dad joke. Yeah, there's Dylan Hughes. Dayton, do a backflip. Dayton, can they hear me down there? Dayton, do a backflip. Lorette, head over there. His brother right there, the little guy with the black hat. He can do a backflip on call. So there's Dayton's team, the Royal Purple. Man, they're like a F1 pit crew right now. That's sick. Hey, Lorette, if you're down there, tell Dayton to do a backflip on video. That'd be pretty sweet. We got some time right now. Kemp, do you have Lorette in your ear? These are the kind of things that just go viral, you know what I mean? Oh, there he is. There's Dayton. Ready? Bam, there it is. See? Told you, Dayton does a backflip. You ask and you shall receive. Thank you, Dayton. All right, giving a little, yeah. While we're waiting to clean up this mess, we and Dylan's waiting to head over into the pit. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see some more drifting here at Formula Drift Round 2 of the Pro Championship. Ryan, are you impressed by that backflip? Are you ready to see mine? All right, go ahead. Oh, we got to go. Sorry, I was going to do it. All right, when we come back, more drifting and backflips here in St. Louis.
He is not able to fix his vehicle. If it is unsafe to perform, he may be disqualified. Now, we have not heard that officially, and perhaps his car is fine to compete. However, Dylan Hughes will have an ample amount of time, up to 10 minutes, to fix his vehicle without having to utilize his competition timeout. If it gets to the 10 minutes, then he will have to use a competition timeout to fix his vehicle. The way a competition timeout works is that the clock starts as soon as his team puts their hands on the vehicle. So it doesn't include everything that they're not in charge of, like putting it up on the lift, getting it down into the garage place. As soon as their team touches the vehicle, that's when the competition timeout starts.
Thank you for the clarification there, Ryan Sage. So as good news, bad news there. Good for Dylan Hughes, bad for Travis Reeder. Potentially, is it deemed unsafe? We'll find out. But guess what? We are not even halfway through, but we almost were, because we're going back to Forsberg and Denofa. Forsberg and Denofa, this one more time battle. We saw how awesome that first battle was, but it was too close to call. It was unanimous. One more time. We are seeing Forsberg lead once again. Denofa giving chase. So what, Ryan, you said that might have been the best battle we've seen here this weekend. Can they do it again?
Well, let's see how many more gears they have. I mean, that was definitely high caliber across the board from both Denofa and Forsberg. And we are only in the top 16, so obviously this is a very important battle for both drivers, especially for DeNova, who got knocked out yesterday.
Here we go, grab another gear, Gary, as Chris Forsberg initiates in that first outer zone. You can see DeNova dip a little tire. You saw brown clouds being thrown up. Now into that first and only front clip. Both of them dialed in. Chelsea DeNova takes it out to the third outer zone. Now approaching the final outer zone. DeNova comes in a little like a quarter late, but then dips in and brings it on home. Ryan, pretty straightforward. Great lead run by Chris Forsberg. DeNova, he did hit that front clip. Line was a little bit different than the previous run, but still a great run.
Yeah, no question about it. It looks like DeNova got a little held up there right before outside zone number 2. Let's take a look at it. Forsberg right at the edge of the course. DeNova perfectly dives in there, gets right behind him. But right there, looks like he gets a little bit held up as Chris tries to get into outside zone number 2. You can see DeNova does hit that inside clip. Forsberg out front, not as deep as you'd like to see in that outside zone. Great transition back around. DeNova trying to catch him in the final moments here, and is not able to get door to door. This is where I thought DeNova lost a little bit of ground there. You can see that slight adjustment through the smoke line. Forsberg takes that wide swing, able to get through that inside clip. DeNova just barely taps it there, but it was a right-hand side of the bumper. Still a very competitive battle back and forth here between both competitors in each position.
Both of them creating a massive smoke trail in that outside
and
zone.
going
the final
so
outside.
fast.
Yeah, they were ripping. Their transition from 3 to 4, they were both on throttle. Very good flow, good momentum from both of them. Can they do this again here in this second run? DeNova will lead. Forsberg will give chase. Again, you can just feel the pressure mounting here. A great first battle. Would like to see that happen again. You know, again, right now they would beat themselves. You know, I mean, it just a small, you know, splitting hairs, mistakes, finding out little delay here. It looks like we are getting ready to go as the pressure mounts. All right, we are clear to send. Little debris on track. The wind really whipping up. You can see the flags once we get a shot of a flag, maybe the stars and stripes, you can see how windy it actually is. Not a factor for them in the vehicle. Here we go. DeNova out front. Forsberg in the chase position. A little flick there from DeNova. Big angle from Chelsea out front. Chris Forsberg falling back quite a bit, maybe getting lost in the smoke. A tighter line there from Forsberg. Way shallow on that front clip from Chris. DeNova filling all that third outside zone. And here comes Chris on that fourth, and he loses it on the transition, and DeNova delivers out front, Ryan.
Well, this time it looks like Chris gets caught up right before outside zone number 2, and it puts him on a tighter line that may have had an impact on that final outside zone, with Chris not completing the run all the way through. Letting the smoke clear here. Let's see what happens. Out of the gate, both drivers just absolutely flying, initiating together. Big angle there by DeNova. See, Chris goes a little bit long in outside zone 1, and then he cuts back across. Now he's on this tighter line here, and he's going to come up. He's going to really center punch that inside clip. Now he's trying to get back on the line, but as we take a look again from outside zone 1, you can see Chris is on that tighter line there. Looks like as DeNova came off outside zone 1, Chris hung in there for a little bit longer, and then as Chris is coming up, DeNova was spinning the wheels there. He was really on it. There was no e-braking. Looks like he did that transition correctly. Remember, there's that decel area right before and a little bit after the start of outside zone 4. So obviously the judges will take a look at that section of the course probably a couple different times. But now we've got some finality, and they're not going to. They're going to go right to the decision.
Yeah, that's pretty crystal clear for me. I think they're going to slide him right for DeNova, and it will be unanimous. There's one judge, there's two, and it looks like it's unanimous. Chelsea DeNova gets the win. Unfortunately for Chris Forsberg, he gets knocked out. I think he got blinded by the smoke going from 1 to 2, and he hung on too long with that angle going to 2, and that threw him off the rest of the run.
What's really interesting here, and we'll talk about this more in the bracket, is the two of the top guys who have gone out early, and that's really going to shake up the championship points. We have Frederick Osbo going out, and now 4th place Chris Forsberg. Obviously, Ryan Turk is still yet to go, as well as Odi Bakchis, but from the trends that we've been seeing so far, it's going to get real interesting as the championship moves on.
There is the bracket right now. We are officially halfway through our top 16 to forge our Great 8 And I'm seeing Ryan Turk pull over to the line, so it seems that Dylan Hughes, they're working on his vehicle. I can hear some power tools being worked on or being utilized on down there. All right. Well, Ryan Turk and Vaughn Gittin Jr. pull up to the start line, throw it down to Lorette.
Thank you, Jared. Dayton Hughes, mechanic for Dylan Hughes, his brother. What is happening here?
So it looks like the impact broke the knuckle on the front right, and so it sheared off the tie rod where it meets the knuckle. Tie rod's bent, so we're replacing the knuckle, replacing the bent tie rod, and then we just gotta get quick alignment on there, and hopefully we'll be good to go within our time limit.
Dayton, thank you so much. We're looking for the clock right now. He's still timing out.
Do a
and
backflip.
4 minutes.
Do a backflip, Dayton.
I'm not going to ask him.
Ask him to do a backflip. Not the clock do a backflip. I wanted Dayton to do a backflip. All right, we are back at the action on the start line. The Royal Purple Top 16, Ryan Turk and Vaughn Gittin Jr. And again, both these guys, veterans of the sport. Vaughn Gittin Jr. day one. Ryan Turk, of course, Ryan Turk, he turked himself. He was just a little bit late than 04, but still day two OG, let's call him that. Ryan Turk, here we go, that gum out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback leading the Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Nitto Tire 1 and 2 yesterday. Can they do it again? Ryan Turk initiating into outside zone 1, transitioning into 2. Vaughn Gittin Jr. chasing him down. The chrome nose, taking out that front clip by Ryan Turk, shooting that thing off. Now into that final outside zone. This is where it gets precarious. Both of them delivering. Not as close as we saw Chelsea and Forsberg, but still a great line from both of them, both lead and chase. Ryan.
Yeah, pretty good run there. Turk really coming into his own in this vehicle. You can definitely tell it's got a lot of grip, it's fast, and Ryan seems pretty comfortable and settled behind the wheel. Gets a nice initiation there. Vaughn dives in right behind him. Now transitioning through the smoke line. Vaughn pulls back for a second. Turk is going to do a great job on this inside clip, but just tap it right there as Vaughn stays with him. Here it is again, leaving outside zone number 2. And there you can see, oh wow, that clipping point got sucked underneath Vaughn's car. Now as they get in this last outside zone, look at that line by Turk. Beautifully done about halfway through, and then he starts to go off course a little bit. Vaughn follows him there. Here it is again. From inside clip number 1, Vaughn surging forward, transitioning through the smoke line. Turk going a little bit wide towards the end, but Vaughn following him on that line. So doing the chase driver responsibilities and goals. And now we'll switch it up. Vaughn goes to the lead. Ryan Turk will chase him down.
Vaughn Gittin Jr. definitely filling his chase duties there. And now he will be out front. We got a quad hot boy out here. Got our Worldwide Technology Raceway track staff picking up some trash. The Royal Purple Top 16. We're now more than halfway through our top 16. Remember, we have Reeder and Hughes that we'll go back to. Lorette down there in the pits, seeing if they can get it done. Vaughn Gittin Jr. leading Monster Energy Ford Mustang. Ryan Turk giving chase. Transitioning into that first. You see Vaughn Gittin Jr. tap the brakes a little bit. Transition now into the second. On that front clip, both of them wrapping around, not hitting it, not tapping it. Vaughn Gittin Jr. a little deeper, some separation here between the two drivers. Now into that last outside zone. Ryan splitting hairs once again, man. These guys are going for it.
Yeah, pretty close battle here. Ryan Turk and Vaughn Gittin Jr. exchanging blows in the lead and chase. No finality yet. We'll take a look, see what the judges think about run number 2. Nice little snap there by Vaughn. Comes off the zone a tiny bit early. Ryan Turk had just come through the smoke line. Now Vaughn, great job on that inside clip. He was just in between that first and second hash mark. Here it is again. Turk right at the door line, but about a half a car or car length back. In that outside zone 3, Vaughn was able to fill it and does a pretty good job on outside zone 4 with Turk towing up the rear end, closing the door on that last little section. Here's from inside clip 1. Vaughn, great job not hitting that cone, and Ryan Turk does the same. Turk starting to close the door through the smoke line, comes up on the inside, And Vaughn draws a nice smooth line through the finish line as Ryan Turk chases him down.
Vaughn and Ryan waiting for the verdict. One of these guys going against Reeder or Hughes, Ryan.
Close one here, man.
And that's what we expected. I mean, these guys have driven together at East Coast Bash, at E-Town. These guys have, done Club Loose events. They've drifted all over the world. And, I mean, shoot, go do yourself a favor and watch some drifting history. The old Drift Alliance videos, Bad as Hell or Stay Hungry. Always fun to watch those and just see some old school videos. Here we go. Slide them left. Oh, we got a one more time from Chris. Ryan Turk. Oh, it's one more time. It is a one more time for Ryan Turk and Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Was that your initial gut reaction?
Yeah.
It was for me too.
Yeah.
And I like when it comes out the same.
Yeah. All right. Well, Lorette Nickel is with our winner in the top 16. It was a great battle. Lorette with Chelsea.
Jared, thank you so much. Chelsea DeNofa, you must feel so much better now that you put your full aggressive style back on the track. And you told me you actually had an out-of-body experience. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it was just I made a small mistake in the chase at inner one, chasing Chris, and he got the run on me, and his car is rolling tonight. And he gapped me by a little bit, but we were able to kind of catch him in the last turn. But in that, I dropped 2 tires, so I know my lead run had to be just ignorant. And I went out there and literally barely touched anything but the gas pedal the entire lap. Backed it into every turn, like as much throttle as I could, and I just remember like leaving inner one, like watching myself from the outside, just murdering it. Like I'm like just absolutely hammered on the throttle, and it was enough to give us a one more time. And then in the one more time, I did the same lead run at a little bit better of a chase, and I backed it into the last turn on my lead run. Chris got a little jammed up there, I had nowhere to go, and just ended up looping it. But we were on it for sure. That was 100% driving, 100%.
Absolutely. Now, you had a team member hanging upside down under your steering wheel. Was there a problem?
Yeah, on our rerun, our one more time, in the chase, I got into the brakes real hard in outer zone 2, and the brakes were dragging like pretty drastically from that point all the way to the finish line. And when I lifted, I felt like I was down on power, and when I lifted, the car like was coming to a stop. So I jammed in reverse and smashed the pedal a bunch of times, got it to come undone, and then we made our lead run. I didn't have to use as much brake, so it was fine. But we're fixing it now. Should be ready to go for the next battle.
Okay, Chelsea, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Jared.
Thank you so much, Lorette. Congratulations, Chelsea DeNofa. Like I said, I think those drivers definitely earned a lot of respect for each other after they've definitely have some history. So we're moving on to our next battle because we still have the Hughes Reeder battle that we'll revisit in the second half. Turk versus Vaughn. Now JTP, Justin Pollock. He's got a new setup. He's got a sequential. He's got a different rear end here, differential. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Quick change. As man, excited for Justin Pollock, JTP, and Jeff Jones. The Falcon Tire Roush Performance Lucas Oil Ford Mustang of Justin Pollock. Jeff Jones, the Doc Edelbrock 370Z. See if we get a clean start. Yes, we will. JTP initiates into the outside zone. Little dirt bead thrown up there into the second outer zone. Oh, looks like Jeff Jones gets a little love tap there from JTP's back bumper into that third outer zone. JTP continues on, not affected by that, and Justin Pollock whips it in there and stands on it to absolutely mash into that fourth outer zone. Ryan, again, contact made there on the transition going into outer zone 2. Jeff, he was trying to apply the pressure, just maybe too much.
Yeah, he was. He got a little bit lucky there, but I really applaud the aggressiveness. You can see Pollock on the right line. Jeff was a little bit tighter there, and you can see not enough room to transition, but Jeff gets away with it. He's able to come off the rumble strips and then tuck up in the pocket here, but at that point, you can see Pollock gets back on the gas, but Jeff really engineering with his team that car so well, and it was able to stick with JTP even with that mistake from inside clip number 1. Really impressed by that. Here it is again. You can see Justin in that first outside zone.
Watch him hit that rumble. Boom.
Yeah, he goes up on the rumble strip, and then right there you would expect it to compress and he would fall back, but look at this. He gets back on the throttle, and Justin is not really able to get away. So great job by Jeff Jones there in adjusting to that mistake. It will be a mistake nonetheless, as Justin had a really solid lead there, was deep into outside zone 1, did the inside clip very well, as well as 3 and 4. So now Jeff Jones has to come back with a strong lead of his own.
Jeff Jones out front, as you said, Ryan. JTP debuting this new car. Man, when Justin throws it into that last outer zone, it makes me nervous. It's either like 100% or 0. Like it's sometimes like you think he's just going to come to a halt, and then just like he did there, it was flawless. It was well executed. Here we go. Jeff Jones getting the clean air, fills that first outside zone. Let's see how they transition into the second, and there it is. That's what I'm talking about. That flick, that JTP. I mean, he's one of the best at it. And to maintain that angle is always great. Look at Jeff pulling away from JTP, way offline. Jeff Jones, unfortunately. But man, Justin Pollock, the way he does that flick and holds on to it is always really incredible, but also very sketchy and risking it for the biscuit.
When you do see that, it's usually an indication that there's a mistake coming. It seems physically counterintuitive what he's doing, but when he pulls it off, it looks beautiful. So you see Jeff Jones there gets a pretty decent initiation. This is where we see JTP throw some big angle in the car, but notice the front wheels. No real adjustment there. It's like he holds it and stays on it, so that's a great move for him. Very impressive. There it is again. He just like the Mustang sits and he gets right back on it. Jones out front, just nearly getting off course with those tires there in outside zone 3. And then right here, this was the biggest issue. He just did not get into outside zone 4. And Justin made a good adjustment there. Here's from the beginning. You can see comes off outside zone 1 a little bit early. This is where that big angle, so that's more than matching the angle of Jeff Jones in that section of the course. Jones gets through inside clip pretty well. And then in this final section here, he just does not push out wide enough. Justin quickly adjusts as well, follows Jeff on that line. And the battle has come to an end. It will now go to the judges.
Oh, really well executed there by JTP and Jeff Jones. How are we doing out there, St. Louis? Thanks for joining us. Again, our social distance crowd here in the stands. Make some noise for all our drivers. And we'll find out who moves on, JTP or Jeff Jones. Here is our BC Racing side-by-side. BC Racing, the official suspension of Formula Drift. Go for gold.
Jones on the right in the front. Pollock in the front on the left. This is where we saw Jones make that mistake, but make an awesome adjustment to it, not letting Justin get away. Pollock in the chase position, following him through that last outside zone, falling off for a second, and then trying to catch back up there. And let's go to the judges.
Scores are in. Slide them left for JTP, right for Jones. Chris, there it is. Ryan says it, JTP, and it's unanimous. JTP, Justin Pollock, gets the win and will advance on into the Great 8. All right, so will JTP see Odie or die? We saw yesterday die and Odie. Will we see JTP and Odie, or will we see die and JTP? All right, there it is. You can see that bottom right-hand corner, Odie and die. And now we're going back to Dylan Hughes and Travis Reeder. It looks like they are entering into the burnout box. I can see Reeder off in the distance. And I'm wondering if his car is 100%, Ryan. Because
well, I can tell you a couple things that came across my desk.
Please.
Was that Dylan Hughes did have to end up burning his 5. So the problem was such that he had the 10-minute allotment for it not being his fault. That expired, and then he burned his one and only competition timeout. So Reeder is really the lucky one in all of this because he does not have a competition timeout to burn, and his car really didn't need an adjustment, and he was at fault there. So that's the thing that we're going to be remembering going into this run, is that Reeder was at fault for the collision, and will be at a deficit going into run number 2.
Thank you for that information. Here is a look at the Reeder-Hughes incident that unfolded. So this is the first half of the run. This isn't a one more time. So this is the first half that came to an abrupt halt and stop. Dylan fills that first outside zone, second outer zone. Travis Reeder taking that middle line, and here we go. Two great friends. Let's do a little fist bump there. Boink. There you go. So as they rub tires, and Dylan Hughes' suspension says, I'm done, I'm out. So he does try to continue on the course, but in that fourth and final outside zone, it just looped out for him.
So a good position here for Dylan Hughes.
Yep.
No question about that. As we have Reeder with an incomplete on his run. This is should not be rather a walk in the park for Hughes, but he certainly has the advantage being in the chase position, can give himself a little bit of room here, and knowing that he's got a good friend driving next to him, there's not going to be any shenanigans. But we still need to see the second half of this battle.
All right, old Red, we'll see if old banged up Red, man, after earlier that comp timeout, having the what was it, the fuel air ratio, as well as having some steering issues. And now here he is going against one of his best friends out here on track in front of the world. Travis Reeder transitions into that second outer zone. Big angle from Reeder, and both of them bringing it around. Looks like Reeder does take out the front clip. Some separation here from Hughes. Oh, baby, Hughes pedals it back just a little bit, unwinds it, but keeps it between the lines where the rubber meets the road, and I think that's going to be all she wrote, unfortunately, for old Red Travis Reeder. Now, I think he's going to become a fan of Dylan. Says, all right, you beat me, but take it to the top.
Taking a look at the replay here, again, a cleaner run this time around. Reeder in the lead position. Really, his strategy has got to be to try to bring an unforced air from Dylan Hughes that gives Dylan an incomplete and would force a one more time. That does not happen here. As you can see, Reeder stretching through that first inside clip, heading out to outside zone 3, and then finally into 4. Hughes playing a good strategic role here, keeping it close, but not putting himself in too much danger. And this should wrap it up here for Dylan Hughes, putting him into the Great 8, which is quite an accomplishment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yesterday, Dylan Hughes got knocked out in the, I guess he did make it to the Great, you know what's funny? He did make it to the Great 8, and he went against Ryan Turk. Exact same position he's in right now. Dylan Hughes gets the win. He advances on into the Great 8, and look at this. Hughes could go against Ryan Turk again in the same exact spot yesterday, or could change it up with Ryan Turk. So we'll find out here in just a little bit, because I believe we are seeing Ryan Turk enter the burnout box. So Hughes could go against Turk once again. Yesterday, Turk did win, obviously, as he went on to get second overall in round 1. Or is Vaughn Gittin Jr. going to step up and take out Ryan Turk? So this is a one more time battle. We saw a fantastic battle between Turk and Gittin. Shout out to Abby and Gunner watching at home there. Just relocated to North Carolina. Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the RTR lab, ready to rock. Ryan, what'd you think of that Mach E 1400 that he built with Ford? That thing was pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty, I hate using the word epic. It gets used a lot, but
okay.
I'd say it's epic.
Okay. How about multifaceted? Very dynamic.
No. Dynamic, that's cool, I guess, in a way.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It's a really great video. Very well produced, and it's incredible the technology that they have these days, for sure.
Yeah, the Mach E4, I had an opportunity to go out there and see that vehicle, and it has multiple different engines. It's pretty rad, so that's just definitely a step in the technological direction for Ford. Check it out, the Mach E 1400. But right now, it's all about the combustion, baby. You can see the nitrous spraying out of the hood of Vaughn Gittin Jr. The one more time battle between the Gum Out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback on Nitto tires, and also on Nitto tires, the Monster Energy Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Ryan Turk into that first outside zone, blast that back bumper and blasting the cone. Transition to that second outside zone, taking that wide sweeping line that everybody's really dialing in here. Oh, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. Oh, and he is gone in that Nitto tire smoke. Takes that tighter line. Oh, he got lost. He says, which way did he go?
Going back to Chris Forsberg saying, how do you see through the smoke? No, you don't see it, so you stay on the inside line. We saw Vaughn go directly into the smoke line coming out of inside clip number 1 on the crossover. Let's take a look at it here. Pretty good initiation by Turk, not super snappy. He drops a tire, he stays in too long. Vaughn follows him out there, comes through the smoke line, pretty much in the right position here. Staying a little bit tighter, not hitting that clip, but look at this, he gets lost. And that last shot was really giving us a good look at it, but we'll see it here as well. He's gonna go bye-bye. He is completely in the smoke line, and then he doesn't know where he's at. He transitions basically off of muscle memory, but it's too tight, and he loses his positioning on the track. Thankfully for him, he was able to save it. It will not be an incomplete, but it's a very big mistake because he missed the 4th and final outside zone.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a good run there from Ryan Turk, and as you say, Vaughn getting smoked out, absolutely smoke blind. And we will see this second half of this battle. Vaughn Gittin Jr., shout out Levi Clark. I see you're watching, homeboy. Mad Mike over in New Zealand. Quite a few of you watching. Thank you so much. Hashtag FDSTL. Chris Mady, what's up? And here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. leading. Ryan Turk giving chase. Vaughn Gittin Jr. nasty initiation, more through-wheel motion. Haven't seen that again. Didn't see that too much last year. Loving it right now, and you saw from Chelsea as well. Bringing it around. Vaughn really needs to drop a hammer here. Captain clutch kick. The professional fun haver. Ryan Turk, a straight line approach. Uh-oh, Ryan. That was not a flawless chase run there, but was that, I mean, again, on the scale
was it
of 1 to 10, does that kind of shine, or is that comparable to the big mistake by Vaughn?
Right, was it an equalizer, basically?
There you go.
I don't think so, but let's take a look at the entirety of both runs, because that's really what we've got to do. Vaughn definitely does a better job in that first outside zone in his lead. So Vaughn's really gonna be focusing on his lead here to see if he can better Turk's lead. Now in the chase, Turk starts really falling far behind here. He may also have gotten lost in the smoke. He has a great transition to tuck in the pocket there from outside zone number 2. He starts falling back a little bit here as Vaughn just gets up on the line. And this is where Turk also comes in a little bit tight. Look at the front wheels.
Yeah.
Really lacking the angle. He did not fully transition, and then he's on a tighter line there. So
Going from 3 to 4, you saw him take a weird line. He beeline towards the wall, which doesn't give you enough room to transition. So it's like baby steps,
Yeah.
a baby transition, which then you have to straighten out and really drag. Watch, he's gonna drag. Ready? Oh, straight dragging all the way to outside zone. I'm there, but Vaughn was there. So it was an interesting line that Ryan made. Like you said, the equalizer. That's a great way of putting it.
he also had a tough time on outside zone 1, not matching the line that Vaughn had. So I think the judges are really going to be looking at the comparison of the leads and to see if there's a differentiator there. In the chases, obviously, there's a huge factor on both sides. It's just whether or not something can come out of the leads that puts it in one way or the other. Now you can see here, Turk in his lead, coming through inside clip 1, does a pretty good job. Vaughn as well. That's where Vaughn gets lost on the left-hand side of the bracket, on the left-hand side of the BC Racing side-by-side. And boy, they are really flying through that track.
I mean, their motto is go for the gold. Who's going for the gold right now? Ryan Turk, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Shout out to the Jennings, RJB, Walty White watching at home. Cranking some libations and having a good time. Clutch kicking and taking some names. Ryan Turk, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Slide him left for Ryan Turk, right for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Ryan Turk gets the win. So Ryan Turk moves on. It'll be Turk versus Hughes in the Great 8. So already in the Royal Purple top 16, we have, man, we got 7 drivers. How quickly we bounced around and jumped around, leapfrog, but now we got Odie and Dai. 2 drivers with only 3 letters in their name, ODI, DAI. So as we are moving on, the Odie and Dai, they're waiting in the wings, but Lorette is with who's the driver going against him.
TP, I would imagine that the top 32 felt like a year ago. You've been waiting all day. You won your first battle in the top 16. But is that a disadvantage waiting this long?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice running 32 because it keeps you going. I mean, the buy run is better than nothing, but obviously waiting to battle is a little bit difficult, but you know, it's always kind of a gift, a blessing to get that 32 win with a buy, and then you just kind of mentally get ready for the top 16 battle. And going against Jeff, I knew he's been really consistent. He's been driving really well this weekend, but we just had a little bit more than him on both runs. So we're moving on to the Grade 8 against either Odie or Dai. So we'll see who wins that one, and we'll get after him.
What would be your choice?
I mean, Odie got me yesterday, so I'd really like to get another chance at him today.
Yeah, and I heard you talking to him yesterday about how you were going to bill him because he hit you and caused some damage, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you know, Field came in as a sponsor this year, so I'll just goofing around with him. You know, Rubbin's Racing out here, we're pushing so hard, tapping tires and bumpers to each other. That's just the name of the game. So, yeah, all in good fun, but definitely looking forward to driving against either one of them today.
Okay, Justin, thanks.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, Lorette. And yeah, you gotta keep the Joshing going. Here we go. Odie versus Dai. O-D-I-D-A-I. Here we go. Who's gonna W-I-N? As you can see, Odie Bakshi's in that first outer zone, transitioning into the second. There goes, oh, look at Dai Yoshihara. Great, oh, he falls back just a little bit. Odie Bakshi's got third yesterday. Can he get on the podium once again? Transitioning, oh, Dai Yoshihara with that flip. Oh, man, you can see him. I love looking down here. I can see Dai Yoshihara throw it in, and then, whoa, it came unwound. Unbelievable driving there.
You really cannot give Odie an inch, can
No.
you? I mean, he takes advantage of every single mistake that you make, and you cannot really fault Dai here. He's on this tighter line, right? He wants to maintain proximity to Odie, does not want to let him get away. He tucks in right here, but then he makes an adjustment, and that's going to cause him to fall back. Odie stays on throttle through that inside clip. You can see he's already back on the gas well before the inside clip, and he's able to surge through that third and the fourth outside zone. Dai's playing catch up now, throws big angle in the car, unwinds it. Looks like he almost, I mean, he may have gone to no angle there for a quick second and had to fully correct. Let's take a look at it again, see if we can see it here from this angle. You see that big flick back into outside zone 4 and 2 adjustments from the front wheels where he may have brought it to 0 angle for just a second. So a large mistake there for Dai that pretty much started right before inside clip number 1 rather, and then going into outside zone 3.
Yeah, and I just saw Big Steve there calling a competition timeout, Dai Yoshihara. And, man, we've seen a lot of these today. Man, I think everybody's used theirs pretty much, right, Ryan?
Probably not that many drivers that have one left. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're trading them around like Pokemon. Look at all of the abuse that Daijiro Yoshihara's vehicle has sustained. I mean, look, you got front bumper. You got the side there. I mean, you got, you know, on the back of the door.
Yep.
Wonder what's going on with Daijiro and his vehicle.
Well, we revisit the question about vehicle attrition, right? And, you know, how these cars are holding up after a long day of competition yesterday, coming into today, a full hour of practice, and then a top 32 into the 16. How are these cars holding up?
Yeah, right. I mean, the NGK competition timeout, in addition to providing spark plugs for domestic and import vehicles, NGK produces spark plugs for motorcycle, power sports, marine, and outdoor power equipment. NGK also offers complimentary ignition product lines, including ignition coils, resistor caps, spark plug wires, and high-performance cables. For reliable performance, trust NGK, the ignition specialist. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn how NGK is redefining the category with high ignitability technology through its ruthenium HX spark plug. St. Louis, delivering on all fronts. It's the gateway to the West, baby, because we are keeping the action going. We'll find out who has the key to the gate to unlock the win here in St. Louis. Round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. More action when we return. Accomplished drivers, I mean, Dai Yoshihara, former champ in that turbocharged LS BRZ. Both these guys housing 1,000 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower total on the track. Plus, as Dai Yoshihara initiates, gets in that first outer zone, transitions into the second outer zone. And look at that, Odie, tit for tat, bringing into that front clip. Odie actually taking it home for lunch. And then Dai Yoshihara in the third. Remember, Dai has that big mistake here. Odie Bakshis comes on into that last flipping zone. Wow, things got interesting there. That was a little pucker effect on that last one.
And the interesting thing is, even when he makes those little mistakes or he gets lost in the smoke, he's able to correct it and still make it look good without making a big mistake. Now here is Dai doing a really good job on that first outside zone, just going a little bit long and into that section. But Odie here is going to come up a little bit tight, center punching that inside clip. He's going to go for proximity here. Here it is again, super close, trying to match the angle of Dai, who gets through that inside clip. Odie a little bit down on the angle relative to Dai in that section of the course. And see, Odie was coming in very hot. He had to make an adjustment in one direction before he transitioned. That increases the probability of a spin, but he's able to hang on to it. And remember, we do have that big mistake by Dai in the first run. So Odie is still using this opportunity to really put pressure on the lead driver and give himself another feel of what it is going to be like if he moves on here to face those really tough competitors in the chase position, which is something that he is just continuing to get better and better at.
Definitely hits differently here in the top 16 going into the grade 8. We'll see Odie versus Dye, who comes out on top. Justin Pollock joking with Odie about, you know, him, and now he's on field suspension. Waiting probably impatiently. It's hot. Finally got that the breeze still blowing out there. Yeah, definitely not whipping as much as it was. Like I said, 1,000 horsepower under these hoods. Ryan, next round of Formula Drift, round 3 and 4. Where are we at? What weekend?
Evergreen Speedway, basically 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And right as of last Friday, it is a no fan event. So we'll be doing this with just the traveling circus. That could change. You never know what's going to happen in Monroe, Washington. Dallas, Texas, October 16th through the 18th, and then we finish things up at Irwindale Speedway the 20th through the 22nd. So this is our double header schedule, 8 rounds over 4 weekends. And what a great way to kick it off here in St. Louis. Incredible crowd. Thank you guys for sticking around for 3 days.
And here we go. Ryan Odie gets the vote from, there you go, from Chris, from Ryan Lontaine, and now Brian. So Odie sees himself back in action, and JTP will get what he requested. So again, we talked about Seattle in 2 weekends, no fans, but again, all of you could be in attendance because you could watch online. That's September 25th through the 27th. So hopefully you tune in. Ryan, Corey, Josh, Galen, and Hope. So you guys could tune in 2 weekends from now. Seattle, Evergreen Speedway, housed in Monroe, Washington. We'll come see Randy Johnson, Rylan, and the whole Johnson gang. But again, tune in, grab a beer, grab a good time, because we are seeing our first battle of the grade 8. Ken Gucci, Matt Field. Ken Gucci, he is ailing right now. He said yesterday took some pain meds. He has a slip disc. You saw him get out of his vehicle. The Link ECU top 8. And we're seeing Matt Field, who has seen just a crazy amount of contact as well, but not him physically, but more of his vehicle between him and Osbo. Here we go. Let's send it. Here we go. Matt Field, Ken Gucci, and there's Matt Field. There's that initiation, so he's back at it again with the Corvette swing, but Ken Gucci does not back down, allows him the distance. Oh, Ken Gucci lacking the angle, but Matt Field brings it around the Beast of the Bay out to that 3rd outside zone, transitioning into that final. Ken Gucci with that straight line approach. Achilles gripping up. And Matt Field powers out the Beast of the Bay. That supercharged Corvette running and gunning, Ryan.
Well, Gucci, it looks like he definitely learned where to initiate with Matt Field, and as we spoke about, Matt getting that win as Frederick Osbo was not allowing for him to have the right of way, and that's how Matt Field was able to get the win after the first half of the battle. Gucci was able to tuck up on the inside. He anticipated it well, but unfortunately coming through the smoke line here, he kind of shallows up his angle. He keeps the proximity, but now he's on a tighter line here. And he's going to struggle to reach out to that 3rd outside zone. This is where it kind of transpires. He doesn't really get that full release in that 2nd outside zone that gives him the line that he needs to stay with Matt Field. He's pretty decent on proximity. Big, long e-brake from Matt Field. Gets back on it. Comes up a little bit shallow on the first half of the outside zone, but then squeaks through and gets the second half a lot better. So we'll switch things up here now. Ken Gucci going to the lead and Matt Field chasing him down.
Now there's a new car being debuted here for Ken Gucci, the brand new Toyota Supra. Yeah, you could see the wind whipping there off Sopa's shirt, our starter there, Sopa the Ropa, as we can see Ken Gucci. Like to see him with that clean air, a little bit windy, not a factor, but it's going to clear out that smoke a lot easier. Mother Nature Zamboni, there we go. Ken Gucci throws it in gangster, but the Beast in the Bay in that Corvette, the Drift Cave vehicle, the Falcon tire livery, bringing it around into that 3rd outer zone, transitioning through. Let's see how they handle the all too critical last outside zone. Ken Gucci overcooks it, burns the meatloaf. You see him throwing up some dirt. Ryan, love seeing Ken Gucci out here in this Toyota Supra. I'm feeling for him, man. I think he needs a rest. I think he's just gonna lay down for 2 weeks until Seattle, man. He looks like he is hurting, to be honest.
Well, you know, he said he was not taking any
Yeah.
pain medication today to try to be as clear-headed as possible. Looks like it was paying dividends up until this point. Comes off the first outside zone a little bit early. Matt Field is able to adjust quickly to dive back in here. Gucci whipping around that inside clip. Great job there. Matt Field hits it. Beautiful on that third outside zone by Ken Gucci. Now transitioning back around. Here it is again. And you see Gucci pretty much at full lock. Nice angle there. Getting over to the wall for the final outside zone, but overcooks it. And 3, almost 4 tires off course for Ken Gucci at the last section of the course. So
Really
just coming
unfortunate.
out of this inside clip, which really is just so pivotal to getting the second half of the course right, and maybe just a little bit overcooked or not transitioning early enough to slow the car down with angle. Matt Field recognizes off course. He goes on the inside there to avoid a collision. And now we go to the judges.
All right, the lead caveman there, the beast in the Bay, Matt Field, operating his own shop, Drift Cave, in the Bay Area in San Jose, California. And the Falcon Tire, Drift Cave, Pedal Commander Corvette, I believe will have the win there. The Vortex Supercharged and the brand new Toyota Supra of Ken Gucci. Here's the BC Racing suspension, the official suspension of Formula Drift side by side. Go for gold.
Let's take a look at the first outside zone. Field right on there. See Gucci comes off a little bit early on his lead. Nice flick back around by Matt Field in that second outside zone. Gucci was tight on the chase. Hit that inside clip. Great job by Gucci on outside zone 3. Field with the big long e-brake pull. And Gucci was not door to door, otherwise that might have been a lot more problematic. But obviously Gucci going off course in his lead run, a big mistake there towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much already penciled in Matt Field, unfortunately, for Ken Gucci. But you know who is stoked? Matt Field. Can you feel the heat wave coming? Definitely can, as he's going into the Final Four, the 777. He's coming up all cherries here as he pulls the one-armed bandit and he strikes gold. He is going into the Final Four. Michael Essa, don't know what condition he's in from previously. Again, he thought he was just going to show up and kind of, you know, oh man, but no. With, unfortunately, Kazuya Taguchi going out due to mechanical, Michael Essa advanced on. So now he goes against Chelsea Denofa, with Forsberg and Denofa going one more time. Denofa, you know, hanging it all out there. So Denofa and Essa together in the Great 8. This should be interesting considering what kind of condition the FCP Euro Liqui Moly Achilles tire BMW is in, going against, obviously, a fully torqued Chelsea Denofa. We'll see if he boofs it here. Michael Essa, Denofa, look at that. 2,000 plus horsepower on track at one time. That 05 BMW M3 operates out of Southern California. Chelsea Denofa now in the Pacific Northwest, originally from Philadelphia.
But it'll be really quick, right?
Sorry,
It'll be really quick. We'll
If we find
know
out
what's going on with Essa's car pretty much right out of the gate, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we saw it. We saw it there. So got a little water out here on track. We'll dry that thing up. And you can see them out there. All right. All right. As when we're cleaning up the track here, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ken, I just wanted to check in with you. Like, this was a hero movement that you just put forward. Are you all right?
I'm all right, yeah. I just want to thank my crew for working 100%, covering, you know, what I should have been doing too. And they just had me sitting around like an old grandpa because my back is so injured. But yeah, we made it to the Grade 8 for round 2 St. Louis, and I couldn't be any happier debuting a new car. You know, of course, we wanted to take it even further to the top of the step of the podium, but there's a lot we still have to learn about the car. There's a lot of challenges ahead. I still haven't been able to drive this car to its full potential, but every lap we're learning something new, so it's very exciting.
Do you think you'll be able to drive it to its full potential in Seattle?
I sure hope so. I mean, we learned a hell of a lot during this round, and if we can apply what we learned, you know, between rounds and make those changes, I think Seattle's going to be a really good 2 rounds for us.
And what did you learn in St. Louis that you think you can apply to Seattle?
Well, I guess I was going backwards in the suspension setup, and I was taking grip away out of it when I should have been adding more grip. And you know, there were a couple of runs where I had in practice where I thought I was going the right way, but in reality I was going the wrong way with the suspension setup. And I really learned a lot, especially in the battle against Matt Field, where I just, took myself out essentially by going 4 wheels off course. But yeah, if I can just make those changes that I learned, it's going to be one hell of a fast car.
Yeah. Sure. And you had a hand in the build in this brand new car. I mean, are you happy with where you are right now?
I'm mega excited. I mean, not only are we debuting a brand new car, but we're also launching Toyota Gazoo Racing, which is Toyota's initiative into making ever better cars and just making things more exciting in the motorsports world, car world in general. So yeah, excited to be a part of that umbrella, Toyota Gazoo Racing, and of course, super excited to debut the Toyota GR Supra.
All right, Ken, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Lorette. And yeah, Goosh, we'll see you down to the pits, down to the paddock. Obviously masked up, but we'll see you even more so in Seattle throwing it down. You said the HE double hockey sticks a couple times, Ryan. You got a little overzealous, bud.
Yeah, he's very excited, and it's good to hear some insight, obviously, into what he is looking at doing, running his own program, his own team, and the development of the vehicle, and prepping for another tough weekend in just a few weeks as we try to fix these water issues that were on the track. And
considerable amount of fluids. I thought it was just water. It looks like definitely more than water.
And thinking about yesterday, Jared, as we talk about what potentially could happen here tonight, we've got Frederick Osbo in the lead officially, but unofficially there's going to be some changes for sure, right? Because we still have Ryan Turk. He's ahead of Osbo in terms of positioning, and Odie Bachis as well. Chris Forsberg in 4th place also went out early, and this is some of the highlights that we saw last night. Osbo really giving us a great debut of that vehicle, showing progressively over the course of the event more and more of what that car can do and what he can do with it as the pilot.
Yeah, this was in the Final Four, Osbo and Forsberg, multiple championships between the two drivers here. This is Dylan Hughes and Ryan Turk. This was back in the Great 8. This went one more time, and then Turk eventually got the win here against Dylan Hughes in that royal purple BMW. Dylan Hughes is still in it, and guess what? They're going to do battle again here tonight to advance on into the Final Four. Is Dylan going to get some redemption, or is Turk going to reign supreme? And this was last night, and we'll see it not tonight, but Odie, because Odie will go against JTP in that corner of the bracket. Odie eventually won this battle because he ended up getting 3rd last night in round 1 of the Formula Drift Championship.
So twice those guys have done battle in 2 days, once in the 16 and once here in the Great 8.
Yep, yeah, Odie and Dye. And looks like we are clearing the track. Now, this is live right now, and you can see Chelsea Denofa warming up his Nitto tires underneath his BC Racing Ford Performance Mustang RTR. That stands for Ready to Rock, in his case, Ready to Rowdy RTR, for a new generation of Ford tuning, not just limited to Mustangs, the RTR signature LED grills. There is Chelsea Denofa pulling up to the start line. Now, Chelsea will be going against Michael Essa. We talked about that. We'll find out really quickly if that BMW is running 100%. Earlier today, he texted me right before top 16 and right after driver intro. He says, hey, guess what? My car is not running 100%. It is down in power. So we'll find out very quickly if it could hang with the rocket ship of Chelsea Denofa and his RTR Ford Mustang. Lights extinguish. It's go time. Let's send it here in St. Louis. There we go, Chelsea Denofa out of the gate. Oh, look at Essa, steps up, rises to the occasion. Oh, but then he steps off the course just a little bit here. The Achilles tires dipping in, and there we go, wrapping around. There's that line we first saw from Chelsea, but a lot of the drivers adapting to it. Looks like Michael Essa quite a bit of distance now. Chelsea Denofa steps up. Man, I thought Essa was 100% there for a moment. The Achilles tires being put to work and through the paces.
Well, he overcooked it on outside zone 1, and that pretty much led to Denofa running away with it. So Denofa kind of having an Odie-esque effect here, where one mistake from the chase driver pretty much puts it to bed. You can see he overcooks it, goes out on the grass for a second, and he holds that angle, that line for a long period of time. Meanwhile, during that, Chelsea Denofa was able to extend out 5, 6, 7 car lengths and really get a big advantage over Michael Essa, who was playing catch-up, so he was not really a factor in the chase. And had he just come off a little bit earlier, been on a slightly tighter line, he may have been able to hold that with Chelsea and given us a battle to see, but unfortunately that mistake is going to cost him big time, and he was really not playing a factor at all in that run. So we will switch things up now. Michael Essa will have an opportunity for redemption here, but it's going to have to come in form of a lead run as Chelsea DeNova chases him down.
There's Michael Essa, the FCP Euro Liquimoly Achilles tire BMW. And Chelsea DeNova knowing that potentially not 100%. Look at nitrous sprays everywhere. It's like whale watching. Do those guys, I don't think they're vaping. That's nitrous, right? That's just want to clarify. Okay, I'm joking. If you think I'm serious, I'm sorry. Here we go. Michael Essa will lead. Chelsea DeNova will give chase. Who's moving on to the final four. Send it into that first outside zone. There goes Essa turning up the heat. Oh man, Chelsea DeNova getting lost in the smoke a little bit here as Michael Essa brings it around that front clip. Chelsea DeNova might be kicking back a little bit too much here as Essa delivers into that final outside zone. There's Chelsea up the bank. Ryan.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is have an incredible lead run and then have a misstep and give yourself an inactive chase. At first pass, I don't think he did it, but it was a little bit more worrisome that I would have liked on a run like that. Let's take a look. You can see DeNova does give him a big gap, and a great flick there by Michael Essa. Does come off outside zone 1 a little bit early. DeNova lacking the angle on the transition back around, and so from the beginning until now, DeNova also isn't really a factor in the chase as much as you would like to see in terms of closing the door on the Michael Essa story here in the Great 8. Well, Michael Essa battles back pretty well. Beautifully executed on that final outside zone. Now DeNova catches up. And you can see Essa on his lead. Just comes off that outside zone a slightly bit early. And DeNova coming through the smoke line, lacking the angle, now trying to get back on it. Look at Essa pull away. Unbelievable. So got ourselves a little bit more of a battle than we thought here on the second half.
Yeah, he's not 100%.
A strong performance by Michael Essa, and Chelsea DeNova having a tougher time on the second half of the battle.
Find it hard to believe he's not 100%. I mean,
yeah, if that's not 100%,
yeah,
I'm scared.
Yeah, right, exactly. He's like, oh, here we go. The BC Racing side by side, the official suspension of Formula Drift. Go for gold, like the gold nose of Chelsea.
I'm going to try to focus on the chases here because, the leads, have some similarities. You can see Essa was down on the angle there. DeNova falling far back. DeNova is definitely not as far back as Essa is. So that's one thing he has going in his favor, but not the greatest head-to-head matchup here. Not the
Essa
prettiest.
winning. What's that? Not the prettiest?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Announcer said that one time, and now it's gone down in drifting infamy and announcing infamy. Not the prettiest. Am I right, Mad Mike? Happy Father's Day to all the Kiwis, including Mad Mike with that. Cheer brew. Shout out to Parker Dienda. See you tomorrow, homeboy. Dash, T-Bone, love you. See you soon. Scores are in. Here we go. Slide him left for Essa. Right for one more time from Chris. It looks like Ryan Lantain says Chelsea DeNova, and Eggert says Chelsea DeNova. DeNova is going to the Final Four, and it's an all-American battle. We got a Corvette versus a Mustang. This should be a good one. That is going to be our first battle in the Final Four. The Beast from the Bay versus, I used to like to call him Chelsea, don't call me a girl, DeNova, but Chelsea's wife is actually called Chelsea too, so I think that's pretty awesome. Here we go in the Link ECU. Link, the official. Yeah, look at that smile. Cheesing it up. Dylan Hughes and Ryan Turk. Again, Link ECU, the official engine management of Formula Drift. Yeah, I mean, you got to figure, Ryan Turk, second last night in round 1. If he gets on the box, he is going to create some separation between him and Frederick Osbo. How much that separation is going to be find out on where he ends up. Now remember, these guys went against each other last night. Dylan Hughes lost to Ryan Turk, obviously, but they did do battle in Dylan's backyard at Evergreen, and Dylan bested him there. Totally two different cars, different frame of mind, different year, different round, but it goes down now. Dylan Hughes will lead in that royal purple. O'Reilly Auto Parts, BMW transition in. Ryan Turk already dropping in that gum out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Let's see how they handle this front clip. Dylan Hughes nicks it just with that front bumper. Now coming in that final outside zone, sliding on in, bringing it across the finish line, Ryan. Pretty straightforward, no big standout mistakes, no big X factor moments of a flick or something overly sensational, but they make it look easy.
Yeah, Ryan Turk making it very difficult for Dylan Hughes. Just will not be shaken here in the chase position. Gets that early lock in on outside zone 1 as Dylan leaves. Turk right there, a little bit less angle as he tries to get up on that back bumper, but Hughes is the one that takes out the inside clip. Now Hughes leaving outside zone 3, Turk still with them. And here's that first outside zone again. You can see Turk came off a little bit early to try to gain proximity. Has a little bit of a hiccup there as Hughes just taps the inside clip with the front right. And there's Ryan Turk shadowing him. Good transition there, narrowly touching bumpers as they cross over to that final section of outside zone 4. And there's Turk trying to eye up a place to attack on the inside. Very risky maneuver, but he seems to pull it off. Just lost a little bit of angle for a second there. Tighter line there and very close to that back bumper of Dylan Hughes as they wrap around that final outside zone. Switching things up now. Ryan Turk going to the lead. Dylan Hughes chasing him down.
Ryan Turk with that new livery here. The race service boys tuning in from Los Angeles, cheering on their boy. And of course, mom and dad of Dylan Hughes watching. Here we go. Ryan Turk leading, Dylan Hughes giving chase. Whoa, 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 whoa. Man, shots fired across the nose there of Dylan Hughes. Let's see if he can manage. Oh, he regains that composure. Look at that. Proximity runs over that front clip, both of them. Now let's see how they handle, again, this last outside exclamation point of an outside zone. Ryan, that got hairy right out of the gate, but Dylan, whoop, just regained it, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of a punctuated initiation and then like a second pump at it. And, you know, the judges will certainly take a look at that, but it did not have too much of an impact on the rest of the run. So fans seeming to love this here. Battle between the new generation and the older generation between Ryan Turk and Dylan Hughes. See that little battle back and forth there. Got a little hairy for a second. Now they're into it, grinding their way through. There's Dylan Hughes diving in, trying to close a door on Ryan Turk. Turk just nicking that inside clip, dropping a tire there in outside zone 3. Here comes Hughes, surging through the smoke line. And some good angle there to finish up the run by Ryan Turk. Big angle from him on initiation, but he's offline. Luckily didn't get sucked into the wall there, was able to hang on to it. Here comes Hughes, Jared, whipping through this section of the course. Turk tapping the bumper, and then you can see Dylan ran over the base. Hughes is on a tighter line in outside zone 3. And that's a beautiful shot of really getting a look at kind of the mechanics of the vehicles as they were initiating there, and Dylan having to make that second pump at it. So back and forth battle here between Hughes and Turk. And Turk very well executed on that final outside zone.
Awaiting the judges' outcome here. You can see the sun offsetting. It's going to be dropping behind those bleachers here in just a little bit. Sunset here is about 7:20 local time, 6:15. St. Louis, how you doing out there? Make some noise. Guys want to get a wave going? I know you definitely do. Again, we're practicing social distance, but you can still stand up. Here we go. Here is the outcome. Slide them right for Ryan Turk, left for Dylan Hughes, and Ryan Turk gets the win, knocking out Dylan Hughes. So Turk, one step closer to another podium, back-to-back rounds.
The pressure really is on Odi Bakchis now, right? He's really
yeah.
the only guy from yesterday that can keep Turk from kind of running away with two big back-to-back finishes. Osbo's really got to sit on the sidelines And even though they're teammates, you know, they're fighting for that championship. So we will see Odi Bakchis up next against Justin Pollock, as Pollock first to make it to the line.
Yep.
Bakchis with that 3rd place last night has that equal opportunity to get to the podium. And of course, we've got to see that 3rd place battle. Depending on who wins this one will be our final 4, Matt Field, Chelsea DeNofa on the left-hand side of the bracket, and Ryan Turk, and the winner of Justin Pollock and Odi Bakchis.
You can see JTP pulling up to the line, his brand new chassis, his new setup. Odi Bakchis just warming up the Falcon, so teal and blue all over the track. Falcon tires in the air, field suspension on the corners. So some similarities, but 2 very different drivers, 2 very different vehicles. 2 different driving styles. I mean, you see what JTP does with that big flick. Here are the stats. You can see sub 1,000 horsepower. That's what they claim here, but you know, what the real truth is, we'll never know. But Odi Bakchis originally from Lithuania, now living in Wrightwood, California, and JTP originally from Kalamazoo, now living in Southern California. One son. Again, our starter shirt, you can see it waving in the wind just to give you an idea of the whipping wind here. When the wind comes along, you must whip it. And here we go, JTP out front, through the start chicane, clean start. JTP flying into that first outside zone. Odi cannot be shaken. Good transition. Let's see how they handle the front clip. Oh, you see a correction from both the guys, right? You see JTP, little flick of the wrist, and then now into that outside zone. Odi just allowing just enough room. Right in. Well done by both drivers. Ryan, what was I heard
The inside clip was a challenge, it looked like, I thought it was going to be Odi first coming up really tight on that inside clip, and then Justin had a little movement in the vehicle as well. We'll take a look at it, deeper look here. Justin leads out, nice initiation. About halfway through the zone, Odi keeping it tight. Both guys hit outside zone 2 very well, and then right there, and there was a little love tap there. That's what the movement was from Justin's vehicle, was Odi give him a little tap and then cause Odi to be on a tighter line through inside clip 1.
Little tippy tap.
Now you can see Odi's a little bit tighter here on outside zone 1 as well, but he's really focusing on proximity. He fills that outside zone 2 perfectly along with Justin, and then right there you're gonna see a little bump, and that brings him on the inside, closer to going off course than you would like on that inside clip, but really aggressive in the proximity. Justin Pollock in his lead run, on the other hand, pretty smooth and consistent, looking good there. He gets a nice,
I think they touch Falcons.
Solid initiation into that first outside zone, and we'll take a look to see.
Look at Odi, man, just a scotch there, allowing him. Let's see, do we see the contact here? Watch the Falcons. And yeah, you can see the attitude, and look at, you see JTP make a correction, so I think the contact there of rim to rim or tire to tire threw them a little bit off. Come on, St. Louis, make some noise for JTP and Odi Bakchis, who's going to the Final Four, the final battle here in the Link Engine Management Top 8. Link, the official engine management unit of Formula Drift. Odi now out front, JTP in the chase position. Look out for JTP in that aggressive flick. Look at the flick of the wrist. Into that second outside zone, JTP allows him to pass on by. Ooh, JTP on the wrong side of that front clip. That outside zone. Oh, look at JTP diving in. And there was that flick, Ryan, but I think we did it a little too early at a transition. Go on the other side. So, man, I mean, aggressive, great driving. Justin Pollock knows who he's going against. He talked about, you know, joking about going against him, but don't know if that was the right decision. Oh, look at
in the heat of the moment.
Playful moments there.
In the heat of the moment, these guys are pushing at 110%, and then they get playful at the end. But that inside clip remains a problem for pretty much a majority of the field. And you can see why. There's a natural inclination to want to get close to your competitor, but Justin comes in so tight, he more than center punches that inside clip to maintain proximity, and maybe that's a sacrifice you have to make against a driver the caliber of Odi Bakchis, not wanting to let him run away. And Justin does have the grip in his vehicle. It's so close. It's unbelievable what he's able to do here. And he makes that little mistake towards the end where he got a bit over aggressive, kind of overcooked it. Had to put some more angle in the car, but Justin as a matchup here is doing a great job in the chase position, really looking very strong and aggressive, and that's what you want. And even if you make those minimal mistakes, you're keeping that proximity, and that's going to be a really important factor. But of course, the judges have to take both runs in context and looking at the lead runs and the chase runs, and then of course who did better overall given the lead and chase goals. So tough call for the judges here. A couple mistakes they can pick up on, but was there a clear winner?
Scores are in. Justin Pollock on the left, Odie on the right. Looks like Chris says Odie, as does Ryan Lontaine. And Brian Egger says Odie Bakshish. Odie, like you said, Ryan, still in contention of not letting Ryan Turk run away with it with back-to-back podiums. Our final four is set. Hey, St. Louis, let's get a wave going. The fans closest to the announcer's booth right here, just outside of zone 4. Let's see if you can stand up, and we'll send it that way and send it back. So on 3, we'll send it. Again, closest here, stand up, sit down, and send it on back. On 3, closest to the tower. 1, 2, 3, send it! Come on, let's get a wave going. Social distance wave. There we go. Oh, there we go. Slow trickle here. Nice social distance wave going all the way up the bleachers. Ryan, you were talking about it yesterday. The fans were in the lower section. Again, I know it's hot. Look at this. Send it on down. Send it back. Send it back. Send it back. Come back this way. There you go. All right, well, the wave is going, and I wave it down to Lorette Nickel, who's down there with Ryan Turk, who's in the final 4.
Thanks, Jared. Well, Ryan Turk yesterday had some power steering issues, and you said on that run against Dylan, once you finished that run, you felt some shimmying in the wheels.
Yeah, I think at the end of the run with Dylan, we picked up a little tire slag that's left on the track, and it built up in one area of the tire, so it just left a little shimmy, and then it went away. But I just wanted the guys to, you know, be a little cautious, check everything out in the front end. They said everything's tight, everything's ready to go, and power steering has been phenomenal this today, all competition long.
Good. All right, and coming off of that second place, man, your confidence must be soaring right now.
Yeah, we are. I mean, like I said, I'm loving this Toyota Corolla hatchback, and it's the team has been setting it up so nice for me, and I guess we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg on car setups yet. So I'm looking forward to diving further into this chassis and getting even more acquainted. And I think it's showing on track, getting a lot smoother out there, and feeling a lot more confident in a lot of those aggressive situations.
And what are your thoughts about going against Odie?
Odie yesterday, man, he gave me a freebie because he pitched it into outer zone 4 and did a half spin, so he pretty much gave it to me, which is, you know, I was fine with that. But I'm sure he's out for some redemption today, so he's going to be putting up a heck of a fight, and he's a hell of a driver with a phenomenal car, so we got to let it all hang out on the track.
Ryan, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jared.
All right, next battle up quickly here, developing as we see Matt Field and Chelsea DeNofa preparing to get into the burnout box. Chelsea DeNofa before we get him in the burn.
St. Louis, are you ready to send it here for our first battle of the Type S Top 4? On 3, let's yell send it as loud as possible. 1, 2, 3, send it! Here we go. Matt Field, Chelsea DeNofa. Matt Field in the Falcon Tires Drift Cave. Woo! Pedal Commander Corvette. And Chelsea DeNofa chasing him down. The gold nose in the rear view. The HGK body kit swinging around as Chelsea, look at the proximity of DeNofa, comes around. Wow, Matt Field getting really tight to the wall line on that flick from 3 to 4. He brings it under the bridge is where he drew some blood.
Matt Field really had a kind of sense of bravado in his interview with Lorette Nickel, and it seems to carry over onto the track here. Very aggressive, assertive in the way that he leaves the box, gets out there through the start line, and really has a strong initiation here. You can see coming over from center course, nice snap there. DeNofa tucks up on the inside, bringing it through his second outside zone. He has that beautiful wide swing. DeNofa falls back for a second to avoid hitting that inside clip. Now gets back on the door, coming through the smoke line. And as we see it again, you can see DeNofa right there, opting to go to the rear quarter panel, giving himself a bit of a more push out of inside clip number 1. And Matt Field does a great job navigating this last section of the course, but there he is, Denofa right there in the rear view.
All right, now alternate the order. Denofa will lead in the Type S top 4. The first battle here. Type S Touring Products, the official lighting of Formula Drift. Second run of this battle. Chelsea, BC Racing, Nitto Tires, RTR, ready to rowdy. Here we go. Whoa, work with those cones. He is coming in hot. Both these guys with a lot of bravado, and talk about it. Look at, man, pedal commander. He is throwing it on the pedal. Talk about a brick. Woo! Doctor, look at this. Yes, sir. Hitting all the outside zone. Oh, Matt Field going. Looks like he wanted a T-bone steak for dinner, and Chelsea Denofa is on the platter.
Oh,
Ryan
my
Sage,
goodness.
look at that. T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape.
He was looking so amazing in his chase run. And now we're gonna have a judge's interpretation on the contact. At first glance, it looks like he did overcook it coming into that corner. But let's take a look at this again.
Matt wanted this, man.
Comes blazing out of the start line. Nearly drops a tire, but Matt Field unfazed through the smoke line and right next to Chelsea Denofa. This right here is absolutely beautiful by Matt Field. Not hitting that inside clip, but maintaining proximity, doing it perfectly. And then right here is where we're going to see the collision happen.
You can't see it because there's so much smoke on the course.
Well, we'll see it from this angle for sure. And this, I just love this. Through the smoke line, tucks right back up there, and this can't happen without a great lead run from Chelsea Denofa.
Right.
Look at that proximity. Amazing. Denofa does drop a tire there in outside zone 3. Now let's watch Field. Shooting up fast. Boom.
Why do you gasp? Because it was exciting? You wanted to see him kind of bring it together?
I want to see the finish.
Right. You didn't want contact.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, I don't mind a little contact, but I'd like to see that run. That was so awesome. Finish out completely. So there's Denofa. He's decelling in the decel area, right? You see this thing, that orange marker up there? That's the end of the zone. Or excuse me, that's the beginning of the zone.
Ryan, overall, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Love the aggressiveness of Matt Field, but I think he bit off more than he could chew, and he might be choking on that steak a little bit. Love the aggressiveness. Ryan, taking a look here at the red zones.
Yeah, this is just showing once again where the decel area is in that final outside zone. I think this is going to go, here we go.
There it is. So slide him left for Field, right for Denofa. Denofa's going to the finals, but guess what? Matt Field is still in contention of grabbing the final podium spot. We do have a Type S third place battle. So remember, he's got a lot of fans, Denofa, a lot of people. Where are my Denofa fans at? Make some noise. Where are my Matt Field fans at? Make some noise. All right, so, well, it looks like Denofa is going to the finals. There he is, the BC. Look at that door bash, man. That he's stoked it's, round 2 as opposed to round 1. These guys, I mean, they've worked hard. Hey, round of applause for all the teams, all the hard-working teams, crew, working on these cars. Never been done before. The doubleheader, our first ever Formula Drift round on a Sunday. There you have it, the final battle, the Type S final battle. Denofa is in it, as Matt Field will go to the third place battle against the loser of our next battle. But Denofa, he can exhale, but just for a little bit, because who's he going to be going against? Ryan Turk or Odi Bakshish? Remember, Ryan Turk got second place last night. Odi Bakshish got third. Odi would love to jump up in the rankings. Ryan Turk would love to maintain and go into the finals, but it is guaranteed that one of the RTR Mustangs, there it is, Vaughn Gittin Jr., giving Nux, the professional fun haver, too, ready to rowdy, Chelsea Denofa. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. cheers on his teammate as he gets some fresh Nitto tires. Lorette, I'm throwing it down to you. Lorette, get in that gold car right there, Lorette.
All right, you guys, you got it. We have the entire team around Chelsea Denofa's car. You can see this huge dent right here on the door. Chelsea just popped out the door. Incredible job on the track, Chelsea.
Thank you very much. It felt great. The run was awesome. Matt got a little saucy in the chase run, got a little spicy. I actually expected that. So we did a clean lead run, did the best we could, knowing that he was going to be right there. And you know, our chase, I'd hate to say I played it a little bit safe, but we knew we needed to get around and be putting pressure, but you know, not making any mistakes. Matt and I have a long history of driving like maniacs together, so I had to woo-saw myself a little bit.
Well, driving like maniacs, how do you keep it on the good side rather than the bad side?
Well, the trick is you just start with an 88, so if you do get on the wrong side, it's still 88.
Chelsea, thanks. Jared Ryan.
Man, he is just so punny, right? I can't believe he's not a dad with all those dad jokes. I like the whole woosah, like the 88, you flip it over. So there it is. Take a look at this replay. An exciting run here. Ryan, I understand your exhale and your sentiments as far as you wanted to see it finish out, and you can see, like he said, they have a history of driving like maniacs. And there it is. Look at Denofa. Field backs off, three-wheel motion. Love seeing that back. And here's Field. Boosh. On target, stay on target. We were inverted. So, and again, 88. I know Chelsea Denofa loves Back to the Future, hence why his name as, yes. Sun is setting here in St. Louis, but it is not set for our competition just yet. Remember, Denofa is in the finals. Field goes to third place. Right now, we are seeing Odi Bakshis already on the start line. Where are my Odi Bakshis fans at? Make some noise. All right, who's pulling for Ryan Turk from New Hampshire? Make some noise. Well, one of these guys who was on the box yesterday is guaranteed a podium, but we'll find out which order it will be. The Type S Final Four. Type S, the official lighting of Formula Drift. Odi Bakshis, Ryan Turk. These guys did battle in this exact position yesterday in Final Four. Same side of the bracket. A little earlier tonight than last night. Here we go. A little bit better lighting. Odi throws in that first outer zone, so they know what to expect. Ryan Turk allowing him to pass. Coming into that front clip. Odi, massive angle there. Brings it around the final clip. Ryan Turk narrowly takes it out. Down to this final outside zone. Flicking it in, rolling tide. Here we go. Final outside zone, Ryan, pretty straightforward. I think it's gonna kind of be similar to Chelsea and Matt. Save some in the tank and on the tires and throw it down in this second battle. Leave it all out on the track.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great start here for these two drivers. Obviously, this is a huge, I mean, this is a championship implication battle. Not that you want to really be talking about it this early, but really this could be for the lead in the championship because these guys are so close in points. As we take a look at the run, you can see a great job by Turk in the chase. He comes up a little bit tight on that inside clip, but really maximizing the proximity, keeping it close, and really the duration of proximity is another thing to note there. The judges really take a look at that. It's one thing just to surge forward, but another thing to stay there for long periods of time and be able to do that with the type of confidence. And that really takes a good lead run, somebody that can give you the confidence they're not going to crash into you or slow down. You can see Turk goes up on the rumble strip on that second outside zone. Odi is really flying here. Great transition to this final outside zone and just right there on the line. Beautifully done by Odi Bakshis.
All right, now Ryan Turk out front. Those Rotorform wheels on the corners wrapped in Nitto tires. The gum out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Got the conifer number on the roof. And here we go. He will be out front. Odi Bakshis. Falcon tires, field suspension, that Vortex supercharged S15. Coming through that start chicane. Ryan Turk initiates. First outside zone. Hits it and quits it. Odi Bakshis, there it is. We talked about how good his chase runs are. Then he steps up. Can he take down Ryan Turk? Ryan got him yesterday. Who's going to move on tonight? Ryan Turk slides on in, and Odi Bakshis, don't give him an inch. He'll take a mile. Wow. Wow, that is pretty tough. That is a hard one there, Ryan. Look at the fans. They're loving this. You guys loving this or what? At home, hashtag FDSCL. Tag myself, Ryan Sage, Formula D. Ryan, here's the replay.
Well, here we go. These drivers manning up here and getting it done in this second matchup. As we see a nice transition by Odie. Look at this. He taps Ryan Turk, stays in it, and now gives him a little bit of breathing room. Here's the first part of outside zone 1. Ryan Turk does a great job on outside zone number 2. There's that little tap by Odie. Both drivers in it, staying confident, whipping it back around. And Odie, as Turk taps the wall a little bit, gets right up on the inside and stays super close there through the finish line. Here's the final shot overhead from the drone. You can see Odie really doing a great job utilizing the line that Ryan Turk is driving to put himself in a position where the judges can give themselves a real comparable look at what the lead and the chase driver are doing. So phenomenally well done here by Odie Bakshis. And once again, you really can't give him an inch because he will take advantage of it.
Absolutely exciting run right there. Who is going to the finals to go against Denofa? Do we have a winner, or are we going one more time? Oh, man, I'm hearing people yell Odie here in the building. Slide him left for Turk, right for Odie. Look at that. Chris says Odie Bakshis. Ryan says one more time, and Brian says Odie Bakshis gets the win. Odie is going to the finals, so he does better his performance last night. Odie Bakshis to face Chelsea Denofa. Chelsea Denofa finding out he is going against Odie in the finals. The man, the face, you can see him. So now it's Field versus Turk for third place. So Ryan Turk will throw on some fresh Nitto tires. So Nitto guaranteed to be on the podium with Chelsea Denofa. Ryan Turk, he is shooting for third place, but Odie Bakshis on Falcon. So we're going to see a variation of Field, Turk, Denofa, Bakshis. Who is going to come out? Denofa and Bakshis in the finals. We'll throw some fresh rubber underneath Ryan Turk's vehicle. We'll have our third place battle up next. Our third place battle is up next. All right, Ryan, I mean, taking a look at this, do you agree with the Odie Turk call there?
I do, and it was one of those calls where, you know, you could have seen a one more time, and we saw one judge go that direction. However, just because of how well both of the drivers performed, I think there was enough of an edge from Odie, especially in that last outside zone, to say, hey, you know, that combined with a couple other areas where he got a little bit closer and stayed a little bit more consistent, that it should go in his direction.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what Ryan Turk was doing. It just wasn't enough, and this is what we talked about. I think Odie is a real contender for the championship here in 2020. He has not won a championship in previous years, but the S15, a proven chassis. We've seen our former champion, three-time champion, James Dean, pilot a 2JZ S15 to the top of the box to the overall championship the last 3 years, 17, 18, 19. He's not here this year. An S15 could take it with with Odie Bakshis behind the wheel. Ryan Turk really impressed with him stepping behind the wheel of that Toyota Corolla hatchback, but Chelsea Denofa, he came to play. He said it vocally, and he was very vocal about it on social media, and even the interview with Lorette Nickel about he was doing it his way today as opposed to yesterday. Talked about the woosah, getting the calming the nerves, but also bringing it hot and heavy. Matt Field, a different kind of attitude. You talk about kind of the machismo there, and really bringing it. Odie Bakshis, look. As he's looking a little bit lost, but look, he just found Lorette Nickel. Throw on that mask there, Odie. Lorette, down to you, who's with Odie.
Thanks, Jared. He was on it. He knew right away, putting that mask on. Odie Bakshis, congratulations on your win. You're in the finals. So it's different from yesterday because there was a lot of quick, hectic movement down here, and right now there's a lot of movement, but it's very calm.
Yeah, you know, I had the opportunity to chase Ryan yesterday, and I took myself out, I felt like, yesterday. So yeah, I didn't really want to make the same mistake or a similar mistake, and Ryan did awesome, which made it, you know, good for me to chase, and I am stoked. I mean, yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself with that battle because it's happening all over again. So yeah, I'm just relieved.
And you're going against Chelsea Denofa. He's really dialed up the aggression. Are you prepared for that?
Yeah, I'm as prepared as anyone could be prepared for Chelsea DeNofa. So I'm going all out, man. We've seen what happens when we go all out together, so I think everyone's going to enjoy it. But I feel confident. The car's very drivable, yet very quick. So very much looking forward to it.
I feel like you really when the pressure gets put on you, Odie, you shine. Do you agree with that?
I think all of us as drivers do that. It's kind of like what we crave, you know, and it probably wears us down, but this is why we're here to do it. So it's fun battling fast guys like everyone out here, and the deeper you get in the bracket, the crazier it gets, and the more pressure we put on ourselves and the better we drive.
Right. So I'm looking at the sun. When you guys are on the track, what are you expecting that sun and the smoke line to be doing?
Well, luckily we have a lot of wind, so the smoke line disappears pretty quickly. The sun's going down, but I think we're going to knock this out pretty quick here. So I'm looking forward to doing this in the day.
Okay, Odie, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, well, thank you, Lorette, and thank you, Odie. I mean, Odie has been in the Formula Drift Championship for numerous years, originally from Lithuania, now living in Wrightwood, California. Husband, father of two, and a real championship contender. Let's take a deeper look into Odie Bakshi's. He is focused, he is dialed, kind of the consistent attitude he's had today. He's ready to go for it. So, Matt Field, Ryan Turk, can Ryan Turk stay on the podium from yesterday at second? Can he lock in third place? Matt Field's going to say, nope, no way. As Ryan Turk will be piloting this the Gum Out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback on Nitto tires. Matt Field, Falcon Tire, Drift Cave, Pedal Commander Corvette. In that first outside zone, Ryan Turk fills all of it. Matt Field, no big deal, diving through that Nitto Tire smoke trail. And now into the third outside zone. A little shimmy there by Ryan Turk. Handle it, flirting with that wall is Ryan Turk, allowing Matt Field. Ryan, we always say it, you can only have a good chase run if you have a good lead run, and Ryan Turk put it in all the right places, but Matt Field shadowed him wherever he went. Teal and blue shadow all over the track.
It was a really masterful lead run from Ryan Turk from pretty much beginning to end, especially that first outside zone. He had great angle in that car, and he left the zone pretty much at the most perfect time. So he goes right into the zone, he's at the edge, and you can see that Matt Field uses that, and he gets super close as well, and that's what makes for a great tandem. Here, you can see Field makes a little bit of a mistake, center punching that inside clip, and then as we revisit it from this angle, you'll see that Matt Field also drops that left rear off the end of the track for a second, then gets back on. Turk, meanwhile, full throttled and back on right at the beginning of the grass, and that last outside zone was incredibly well done there by Ryan Turk. So this is a strong standard for a lead run. Field's gonna have to come back strong as well. And Ryan Turk is really gonna have to keep the pressure on Matt Field, because where it counted, Matt Field kept the pressure on him. And while it was an incredibly flawless run from Ryan Turk, we gotta see both the lead and the chase.
Well, here, you ask and you shall receive. Here it is. Wow, Matt Field, that wide swing there, but Ryan Turk allows him to cross over into that second outside zone. Matt Field flicks it in. Let's see if he's got that right line on the front clip. Just a little bit outside. Here in that third outside zone, transitioning into the final zone. How's Matt Field handle it? Man, he is all deep. Woo! Max. Oh, man, that was a really well executed run there, Ryan, by both the drivers. Ryan, I would not be surprised if this goes one more time. I mean, that was straight up.
Well, here we go. Who's going to be on the podium in third place? Is it going to be Matt Field or Ryan Turk? That big sweeping initiation there. Ryan Turk times it perfectly, gets up right next to Matt Field. Field charging through. Good execution on outside zone 2. Perfect on the inside clip. Turk just takes it out a little bit as he comes in tighter. Here it is, wrapping through. And back on the throttle early is Matt Field, who does a great job on that third outside zone, now switching it up. And again, getting back on throttle in the perfect spot on outside zone 4. So a lot of similarities in those lead runs. We really talked up how well Turk executed his. Was there some differences in the chases though? And could the judges find a winner here after only one battle?
The BC Racing side-by-side replay. The official suspension of Formula Drift going for gold. taking a look at that. I mean, watch Powers in the lead. Turk mimicking. You see Turk fall back a little bit. He regains. Look at Field backs off as well. But this outside zone, Field brings it all the way out. But Turk does the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is a splitting hairs one.
Yeah, this is, and you know, our director's like, hey man, we only have so much sun. Don't say it, don't say it. Announcer's curse, but I think it very well might go that way because you don't want to leave it in the judges' hands. I don't think there were too many major mistakes. Didn't even see a tire go into the dirt if I can recall. All right, looks like our judges have the verdict. Slide him left for Field. There's a one more time from Chris. Ryan Lantain says Ryan Turk. And then Brian Eggert says one more time. There you go. It is an OMT. You know what? This is the announcer's gift. I'm giving you another battle, but they need some new tires. All right, so Ryan, you know, sorry, man. I'm ready to party. I'm cranked up on NOS High Performance Energy Drink. I'm ready to keep the party going.
Yeah, the energy out on track and the combination of that has really kind of peaked things up here. And we're going to see this one more time battle, but it's not going to be without a tire change. And so we're going to have to wait for that. Cannot move on into the finals until Turk and Matt Field get a new set of rears and then come on out and do it again. I'm wondering if there was any takeaways from that battle that a spotter could pick up on, areas where a driver could improve just a little bit to try and get that edge. We did see one judge go in the direction of Ryan Turk, and you have to wonder, what was he thinking? What was the little tidbit that pushed it in that direction? And usually when you have those really close battles, there is something that you can kind of point out and say, yeah, you know what, I think that kind of gave him the edge a little bit.
Yeah, Ryan Lantain, you might want to check your phone. He might have texted you, as Ryan Lantain is actually judging remotely in Toronto, Canada. So, you know what, let's wrap out with Brian Eggert. Brian Eggert's here in the building, but Ryan Lantain did have a fever, so he chose to stay home. He did have a COVID test. He is negative, so hopefully we'll see him in 2 weeks in Seattle for round 3 and 4. And, of course, round 3 and 4 of the Pro Championship and round 2 of the Pro 2 Championship. But Brian Eggert, going over to you, overall, your experience here, the doubleheader, a lot of work for the drivers and, of course, for the teams.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much work it was for some of these guys, especially that had issues yesterday or broke something, wrecked, to get that back together and be able to do what they've done today. The driving today has been way better than even yesterday, which was hard to believe, and I think it's just been an exciting event, hands down, and the fact that we get it one more time here, I think it's good, and I'm looking forward to the finals in just a few minutes.
Yeah, you and Chris went with a one more time for this third place battle between Field and Ryan Turk. Ryan Lantain said Ryan Turk, but why the one more time?
Yeah, I think they were both really similar, and it was such small little things that I felt I'd rather watch them again and see who can be the most consistent of the two. I'm not sure why Ryan picked Turk, but I would have probably leaned that way if you made me really pick one or the other.
Gun to head. All right, Chip, pick somebody.
Yeah. So I can understand his pick, and I think it was a good choice. So I'm excited to watch him again, though. So we'll see what happens here.
All right, what do you think of Chelsea Denofa and Odie? I mean, Odie was on the box yesterday. Chelsea Denofa, he went out all the way back in top 16. So what do you think?
I think this is probably going to be one of the exciting battles. I mean, 2 of Chelsea's battles have already been, I think, what you guys called some of the most exciting matches. So you had Chelsea going with Forsberg earlier, and you had him just now going with Field. So I have a feeling this is not going to disappoint like the other ones, and it's going to be an exciting run.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, Brian Eggert. Ryan, your thoughts in regards to Chelsea Denofa? He came into this day, you know, again, verbal about how he's going to drive, how he's just going to disregard everybody else and whatever. He's just going to do his own thing.
Yeah, no, and I think if he drives that way, he is almost unstoppable. However, there have been a couple instances this afternoon where there was some separation on a couple of his battles, and it didn't hurt him at the end of the day. Odie, on the other hand, really does not let you get away at all, period. So I think it's going to be what driver can prepare the most, figure out what little things they've learned over the course of this competition that they can take advantage of from either driver, put together the best show that they possibly can, and see who comes on top.
You know, the big thing for me is Frederick Osbo just proves to be a consummate contender for the championship. You know, he comes out in a new car. He gets on the podium yesterday. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is back to the Odie thing as well. I think it's his year. You know, James Dean, unfortunately not here due to the wackiness of COVID and the team kind of disbanding, but I think it's not the last we're going to see of James Dean. When we see him, that is TBD, but what is to be determined as well is a 2020 champion, and I think Odie Bakshis really has the making of it, and especially seeing him third place yesterday, guaranteed at worst, second place here tonight.
Well, it's eliminated all the questions of, bringing out a brand new car. And same goes for Osbo as well, right? And Ken Gucci and everybody that has brought out a new car. This is not a test and tune year. It's basically been right into championship contention. And
you've had plenty of time to buffer.
Yeah, there's been a lot of buffering, but even at the, with the break that we've had and the testing, it's still limited up until a certain kind of point. So you expect there to be a little bit of like shaking off the nerves and trying to figure out setup and things like that. But the driving has just been incredible, and can't wait to find out who's going to be on the box tonight.
Ryan Turk, brand new car for him. Frederick Osbo has proven that it is worthy of a second place finish overall in 2019, and he steps right into it and performs as well.
Yeah, I think, the car just shows that if you have a competent driver, it's going to perform. And Osbo was able to do that, and now we're seeing it with Turk. And I agree with Steph, some of the sentiments that he had, Stefan Papadakis, in one of the videos saying, there's a lot of pressure on Ryan. I have to imagine that pressure is maybe not completely alleviated, but kind of piped off a little bit after this event, because it's 2 good showings no matter what happens here in this battle. He can go home, think about Seattle, and realize that, I'm going to be competitive in this car. I'm going to be a championship competitor in this car. And maybe after, let's see, he came into the series around 2006 or 7. Yeah. So, after a very long time, many, many years, maybe this is his year for a championship. Maybe we are going to see some brand new faces that are going to be posing a real threat for some of the guys that already have captured championships.
Yeah, it's truly anybody's game. I'm just looking over the bracket that we see today, but Field, Taguchi, Jeff Jones, obviously Denofa, he's out there, Dan Burkett, Travis Reeder, Dylan Hughes. I don't want to call these fellas dogs, but every dog has their day, as the old saying goes, and everybody is hungry. So the doubleheader format has proven to be exciting. Overall, again, first ever Formula Drift round on a Sunday. What do you think of the doubleheader setup?
Well, like I said in the intro, there really was no proof of concept. It was just conceptually, can it happen? And the proof of concept is this first doubleheader. So it obviously can happen. It's been a great event. We've had a tremendous fan base out here this weekend that have come and joined us, and hopefully have had a great time. And looking at how the judges scored it in that last battle, you could see that there was something that our Canadian judge Ryan Lantain saw that he picked out from that last battle. So was there also something that the spotter saw that maybe he could relay that information?
Ooh.
Let's get to it and figure out who's going to be in third place.
Here we go. Back to the one more time battle between Ryan Turk and Matt Field. Here we go. We're social distancing off track, but definitely not on track. Ryan Turk will lead. Matt Field will give chase. Let's send it. St. Louis, third place. The Type S third place battle. Official lighting of Formula Drift. Lights are barely coming on here. Look at that. Matt Field doesn't give him any room for comfort. But then he has to back off a little bit. Let's see this line, this setup. Barely nicks in that front clip. Third outside zone. Let's see how they handle this fourth outside zone. That X factor. Ooh, Matt Field looks like he's going to the T-bone once again, but no. Throws some more angle at it. Drops into formation like a Blue Angel. Let's take a look at it here once again.
Well, Turk once again does a lot of the hard work on the first lap. Gets out front and is so consistent with that lead run. Now that allows Matt Field to have a solid chase of his own, but there's going to be a couple little things that we can pick up on. Look at that proximity by Matt Field in that first outside zone. Little bit tighter here. Both drivers are going to hit that inside clip. Field was on a slightly tighter line. See that adjustment he made with his front wheels there? And as he comes into this final section, you can see the acceleration of Ryan Turk's vehicle. But that right there from Matt Field, that's a beautiful thing. Absolutely amazing. Just his transition puts him on a slightly tighter line. He has to e-brake and check up a little bit. So we have some areas where judges can pick out, and then again right there with the front wheels kind of moving. Here's Turk, beautiful on that outside zone. And now we've seen the lead run from Ryan Turk.
Yep.
And now it's Matt Field's turn. Will there be enough to give us a winner here and find out who's in third place?
The Beast from the Bay showed he is hungry. His fangs are out, but live free or die is the motto of the home state of Ryan Turk. So is he going to live free or is he going to die? Here we go. Nice job there by Matt Field. Tapping the brakes, allowing Ryan Turk to gain that proximity transition. Ryan Turk now getting all the way out to that second outside zone, bringing around that front clip. Matt Field avoids it. Ryan Turk takes it out. Let's see that X Factor. What do you got, fellas? Oh, man. Didn't see the a little bit of a late flick from Turk. Let's see, let's look at it again. Slow it down, isolate some spots, different views for third place, the Type S third place battle, the official lighting of Formula Drift. Let's take another look at the United States Air Force replay.
Well, you know, Matt Field really wants to get on the podium here tonight. He does a great job in outside zone 1. Turk was with him, maybe a slightly less angle, but proximity pretty good here. Turk was a little bit tight on that inside clip. The proximity is great. Field looking good, mimicking, and Turk right here, perfect in the pocket, puts more angle in the car than keeps the proximity on. Now we've seen both laps here. I mean, these runs are so amazing by both drivers. Just imagine what a full season is going to look like and what we're going to get. And after power steering issues last night, Turk has come back and made it to a point where he might get back up on the podium again, but not if Matt Field has anything to say about it. Field looking great in that lead position, smoking it through outside zone 2. Wide sweeping turn, late apex on that inside clip. Turk bunches up a little bit. And now we go to the judges. Jared, do we have a victor?
I think we have a victor. You know, I'm a dad to everybody, right? You know, I mean, I want everybody to win, but I truly think we do have a winner here. I'd love to see him run all night long like Lionel Richie, but I think we need to see who is going for the gold as we see the BC Racing instant replay.
So the side-by-sides, of course, helpful here. And remember, we just saw a couple little mistakes from Turk that were noticeable in the chase. I mean, excuse me, from Field that were noticeable in the chase. Turk had that inside
interesting,
clip.
Actually. Seeing that side-by-side, sorry to cut you off there. You know, that side-by-side, it reminded me that Field was back quite a bit, but Turk took a wonky line. He kind of beelined it in and then threw some angle at it.
Threw some angle at it and then really got proximities. So, you know, wondering what the fans are saying. You can see a lot of people commenting about who they thought won. And now it really, the only thing that matters is, did it convince the judges?
Woo, man, no pressure. Here we go. Slide him right for Ryan Turk. And Ryan Turk gets the win, third place. Oh, and look at that. Brian Eggert sides with Matt Field. So it was not unanimous. Oh, Matt Field gets fourth place. Ryan Turk back on the box. Holds up another carbon fiber trophy. Ryan, I was actually going the other way. I was thinking that Matt Field, but I will tell you, after that replay, that showed me that proximity on that last outside zone. So again, split decision here, 2-1. Fans online, a lot of them are saying Ryan Turk. Do you agree with this call?
I think I do agree with Turk, but it's a very, very slim margin. Very, very slim margin. And as we take a look at the points on the line, the difference between second and third place is not super big, but it's going to be noticeable by the time we get down to the last round, right? So you're stoked if you get third place, you're up there on the podium, but remember how close our championships have been, you know, in recent years.
Comes down to the final round.
So you're going to be looking back at all the battles. If just I made this corner a little bit better, I would have got third place. You know?
Yeah, and think about Irwindale in November. We're going to have round 7 on Saturday and then the final round on Sunday. And these are going to be, these cars, the drivers, just the psyche and what they've endured after this crazy 2020.
Yep, it's going to be big time nuts and under the lights of all things.
All right, the finals are here, the Type S finals. Denofa and Odie. Where are my Denofa fans at? Make some noise online and in the stands. Stomp your feet if you're with me. And then Odie Bakshis, we're ready to send it for the final time here tonight. Well, 2 times technically, because each driver will lead. Third place has been decided. Ryan Turk back on the box. We'll have a social distance trophy ceremony, asking some questions down there. We'll close up shop here, but Ryan, again, in just a few weeks, we will be partying in Seattle at Pacific Northwest. And the nitrous purge out of the hood of the BC Racing Mustang. Here we go. The lights are extinguishing. The finals are here. Let's send it. St. Louis, round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Who's coming out on top? Odie Bakshis initiates in that first outer zone. A little bit of a gap there. Chelsea maybe give herself a little bit of room. You can't give Odie that room because you know how good his chase job goes. Neither of them hitting that front flip into that final outside zone. Let's turn it to 11. Odie says, "Give it hard racing we can get." Good, clean, sterile surgeons of the track right now, Ryan.
Yep, pushing hard, but not over the edge. And that looked pretty emblematic of a Odie Bakshis lead. And Nova kind of turned it on at the right moments without putting too much risk on the line. You can see he gives a little bit of room, then he tightens it up. Now coming through the smoke line, tightens it up again. Odie out front, allowing that to happen. Both drivers do a great job on that inside clip. And now through outside zone 3, the transition back around. Odie perfect on the outside zone, but Denova right there, very similar angle. And of course, staying on line, very important through that outside zone number 2. It allows this to happen without knocking over any cones.
Ryan,
yeah.
Odie Bakshis calling a competition timeout.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Odie Spotter, his wife, coming into the building. Pat, looks like we are calling a comp timeout. We'll see if it's even a comp timeout. Ryan, walk us through still here the replay. I was listening to you, but an update. Update in the action.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think obviously we're going to have to singe this into our memories here, and we'll come back to it if we need it. But as you said, Odie Bakshis calling a competition timeout. And that's going to put a brief pause in the competition, but a solid lead run from Odie, and Chelsea Denova was able to use that to give himself a good hand going up against the Falcon driver. Here is Odie Bakshis back in the hot pits, and really at this point have not heard what the specifics of this competition timeout are.
I'm seeing a fresh set of rubber and rims. So as we have the what could potentially be the last NGK competition timeout. I don't think Chelsea has used his, but unless he uses it now. Okay, there was some small contact. They're taking a quick look at it. If they get hands on the car, they would have to utilize their competition timeout. That might be a good strategy for them. Just use it. Get hands on it, because this might be it. That would be my kind of expertise. So this delay could be moments, or it could be a full 5 minutes. But let's see. It looks like, again, there was gentle contact after the finish line, Ryan. That's what we're hearing. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, it sounds like there was enough of a contact for it to rise to the attention of our staff and also Odie's team that it needs to be checked. And now they are putting hands on the vehicle.
Yeah.
So
checking the alignment here.
I believe this is going to make it official, and there's the clock.
Yeah, the clock is out, so they are checking the alignment after that small little contact there. Lorette Nickel is with Kevin Wells, our competition director.
Thanks, Jared. So the guys are walking around Odie's car, and there were a lot of thumbs up, but since they called the competition timeout, they decided to check everything. So what's the difference between touching the car or not, and already Odie's starting the car and driving away?
All right, so I guess
Sorry.
no, it's
Kevin
okay,
is
Lorette.
being talked to right now. So because Odie pulled into the pits, he called the competition timeout. They decided to take it. Kevin?
Yep. So they brought it in. I guess they just wanted to check just verify the rear alignment, that everything was okay before they went back out. So we started the 5. We're having a little bit of communication issues on the radio. So we'll see how the rest of the finals goes.
Okay. Kevin Wells, thank you so much. Guys?
Thank you, Lorette. Yeah, so like he said, a little bit of communication, loss in communication there. So Odie checked the alignment. It's all good. No tires were changed. Suspension's fine, all that. So looks like we'll finish this out. Are you ready, St. Louis? The second half of this battle, the Type S Finals. Chelsea Denova will lead. Odie Bakshis giving chase. Send it for the last time of this triple header. Pro 2 on Friday, round 1 yesterday, and round 2 right now. Who's going to come out on top? Will it be Chelsea DeNova or Odie Bakshi's? Chelsea DeNova in that BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D, ready to rowdy. Send it, St. Louis and online around the world. Thanks for tuning in. Chelsea or Odie? Wow, look at Odie right there. Great proximity, could definitely be deeper. Chelsea Nova bringing it all the way out, not all the way deep in that second outer zone, wrapping around that front clip into the third outside zone. Some shimming there by Odie Bakshi's in the chase position, coming around in that last outside zone. Odie Bakshi's taking that front clip as a souvenir. Ryan Sage and Formula Drift Nation, make some noise for Odie Bakshi's and Chelsea DeNova, the finals here, round 2 of the Formula Drift Championship.
Well, Odie had everything going for him until the transition from 3 to 4. And that may be too big of a mistake to overcome. And I'm wondering if the cone that he hit was the problem. I'm not sure, but look at this. You can see contact prior to initiation. And Chelsea doesn't get off at the greatest start. He kind of goes off course a little bit, but then corrects. Now Odie's keeping the pressure on here. He hits this cone, it's floating, it gets sucked underneath the car, and then as he gets lost in the smoke or transition, he's gonna straighten up a little bit and then lose ground. And we're gonna see that very clearly here on this next shot. Here we go. There is Chelsea making contact with Odie on his initiation, which is right for him to do. We've already seen an example of that here today. And Chelsea really misses outside zone 2. So it's a big mistake for Chelsea in outside zone 2, but I'm wondering with Odie making that correction and then right here getting lost, and then the wheels, see the front wheels kind of straightening, and it almost looked like it was hobbling a little bit. I think that may be too much to overcome.
Ryan, on the initiation, watch, like you said, that quick little love tap, that throws Odie off, but that might have thrown Chelsea off on the transition to that second outer zone. It pushed him out a little bit longer on outside zone 1. But amazing proximity there from Odie, but right here, awesome, and then boom.
Yeah,
big
something
correction by
happened right there, whether it was lost in the smoke or something with the vehicle where it seems unorthodox for Odie Bakshi's to have that issue.
Yeah, that seemed uncharacteristic of what we've seen from Odie, but they checked the alignment. But I tend to think that little contact there on initiation by Chelsea, and as you said, we saw that earlier in a more grandiose way. And this, I think, is really what's going to shine here. It's hard to look two places at once, but here we go, the BC Racing side-by-side replay.
Yeah, I mean, Denofa's lead, it's aggressive and great, but he did blow the outside zone 1 and 2, and that doesn't help his camp at all. But, we've seen close to incomplete for this action right there. You see that? It's almost straight for a long period of time, and that may be too much to overcome. And, that's why we would just want to raise that, to put that in everybody's minds about how the judges might be thinking about this.
Well, if we have a winner, we'll bring him right down up front. Ryan, I think you might be right. And man, talk about being right. If Denofa wins this, his strategy, his joie de vivre, his wusa, whatever you want to call it, might have worked out tonight. Or did Odie Bakshi's do enough to get it done here in St. Louis for round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship? Our doubleheader, I think it was a success. Mind you, my hands are really soft. I'm just the announcer, man. My hands are not dirty. Hats off, round of applause for all of our hardworking teams, crews, drivers, everybody in Formula Drift staff. I would say the doubleheader is definitely a success, and we have a winner. We'll bring our 3 winners right down up front. We'll bring our 3 winners right up front of the stands. Ryan and I will close out the show up here in the stands, and then a little private ceremony of the trophy ceremony down. How we doing, St. Louis? You guys have some fun tonight or what? Thank you for being safe. Thank you for wearing masks. Practice social distancing. We'll see you guys in Seattle. Who do you guys think won? Was it Chelsea DeNova? Or was it Odie Bakshi's? What an incredible day of some drifting. Ryan, do you think you know who it is?
Yes, I do.
Do you know who it is?
I do.
Don't tell anybody just yet.
Okay.
All right. I don't know yet. I actually don't know yet. It's coming in.
Oh, you didn't?
Waiting for the envelope. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it yet. All right, so as we see the three vehicles, make some noise as they step outside of their hot rods, their Formula Drifts, weapons of mass destruction. Thank you to all our friends for tuning in. Rob Jennings, thank you for tuning in. The Deanda family, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Steph, Parker Tyson, Jason, Nicole, Dash, Ava, Ashley, and Davis. Here we go. Make some noise for third place here at round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Behind the wheel of that gum out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback, back on the box from New Hampshire. Third place, Ryan Turk. And now your winner at round 2, the first ever Formula Drift Pro Championship doubleheader. First ever Formula Drift round on Sunday. Has a V8 under the hood of his vehicle. Was it Odie or was it Chelsea? Make some noise. Chelsea? Or was it Odie? Your winner here, round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, unanimously, is Chelsea Denofa. Chelsea Denofa gets the win in the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That means second place goes to the Falcon Tire Field Suspension Sylvia S15 of Odie Bakshi's back on the box once again. Third place yesterday, second place today. Ryan Turk and Odie alternating positions. And there you have it, 1, 2, and 3. Congratulations. Let's throw it down to Lorette. Got your mask on, masked up, and there you go. Lorette, down to you.
Chelsea Denofa, your last win was in Texas of last year. You come away from round 2 in St. Louis with the win. What were the details that you were paying attention to in Odie's driving to edge this win?
He was super smooth in front, so I knew it was going to be a good chase. That's the big deal, is like you need to put a good lead down here to have a good chase, and he did a great job of that. And yeah, just chased as hard as I could in the chase and did his best lead run as I could, and we ended up on top. Just a couple small mistakes here and there, and it added up.
Before your battle, you and Odie were both sitting in your car, and it looks like you guys got a few moments of peace. What were you telling yourself?
Well, honestly, this breeze was really nice. So I was just chilling, cruising, you know, eyes closed, relaxing for a little bit. It's been a long weekend, you know, so we've just kind of chilled out and got ready to drive.
Our next round, we're going into Seattle. We know that aggression is dialed up. Are you ready for Seattle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like sort of a home track to me, so that's good. And it's a big bank, fast driving, and I mean, that's kind of what I stand for, so it should be fun.
Chelsea Denofa, congratulations. St. Louis round 2 winner. Jared?
Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel. Congratulations to Chelsea, Odie, and Ryan Turk. Look at that, man. You can see Ryan Turk pulling out the tire debris out of his eye. But Ryan, some repeat customers here on the podium as, Ryan, you breaking the chair over here, bud? Man, they breaking some records here. Ryan, again, first ever Sunday Formula Drift, first ever doubleheader. Again, repeat customers of Turk and Odie. Chelsea Denofa living up to his statements that he made online.
We got a championship chase on our hands. I think we learned a lot. There's some great new cars. The drivers are on point. So grateful to the fans here in St. Louis for coming out and having a ball with us, and so stoked to be able to do these double headers and come out of it relatively unscathed, but have some amazing memories to kick off the 2020 season.
Right on. Thank you so much. On behalf of Lorette Nickel and Ryan Sage, we'll see you at round 3 and 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship on September 26th and 27th. And of course, round 2 of the Link Pro 2 Championship on Friday, September 25th. We'll see you online, or we'll see you another time. Send it, St. Louis and Formula Drift Nation.
Hey,